What's going on, Keith?
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop aficionado. What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my yeehaw and root tootin' booty scootin' co-host John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, guys?
Root scooting booting.
Root scootin' bootin'.
Scooting sounds.
He was doing the yeehaw, and so I figured I'd have to do the root scooting booting today.
Yeah, you got the root scooting booting roll today.
You know, I'm okay with that.
Practicing.
I've been booting. Doing a little scooting.
a little here, booting a little there.
Well, yeah, I'm up to date on my booting, but my scooting's a little rough.
What can I say?
You got to put your time somewhere.
What can I say? What can I say? My scooting's a little behind schedule.
Coop went with the min-max character build. He maxed out his booting, but minned out his scooting.
Yeah,
I just hope nobody notices. Nobody notices the scooting this week.
We got some people in the chat ready for today's show this morning. Craig in here saying, "Hola, what's up, Craig? Welcome in."
What up, Craig?
¿Cómo estás, Craig?
And we got Tommy over here with a poem for us bright and early. He says, "Once upon a midnight dreary, while JL pondered, weak and weary, while he nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at his front door. 'Lamar, please stay, I implore,' quoth the raven, 'nevermore.'"
Oh, look at that.
Excellent, Tommy.
A little bit of Edgar Allan Poe in there.
A little bit of Poe, dude.
An Edgar Allan poem this morning.
Little Edgar Allan Poe. You guys like Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah,
I've read very limited works by Edgar Allan Poe, but I have enjoyed them. What did I read? A Cask of Amontillado, I think, is what I read.
A Cask of Amontillado.
Am I remembering that properly?
I don't know.
It is. Look at that. What a big word to remember from high school.
Yeah, you just kind of pulled that out of nowhere. You're like, it was called, I don't know, The Cask of Amontillado.
The thing about Edgar Allan Poe is if you get the right person to read it, like just now, Simon, incredible job with that one. Like those poems are bangers. Like they are actually they're actually like good. You know what I mean? Though, because there's like so many poems where you like read it and you're like, oh, okay, you know, that's really thoughtful. But like that hits though. You know what I mean? Like you can throw that over a beat.
Sitting at home in the living room with his headphones in, and then he takes his headphones out and he looks at his wife and goes, "Bro, bro, you gotta hear this.
Right? You gotta see."
I'm just you know, like vibing. She's like, what are you listening to? I'm like, Robert Frost.
A Cask of Amontillado.
Nah, but like it hits, you know, like it's a tough combo. It's a tough combo, man. Shel Silverstein, he's there for sure. Like there's a couple guys that they throw down. No, Shel Silverstein was a dude.
I tend to believe Coop here because I remember a picture from the back of the pictures of a bald man.
That's what I knew.
A bald man on the back of the book. I'm pretty sure Shel Silverstein was a bald guy.
Yep.
That's very confusing.
Indeed, he is.
What am I
just
thinking
Googled
of?
him.
He's like the picture on his Wikipedia. He is like not only is he a bald dude, but he's like arguably the most manly dude. Like he has that look on his face, like he can bite a phone book in
his eye.
Yeah, he's jacked up.
Craig in the chat saying he was. Craig, I believe everything Craig says in the chat, which could be a problem.
Yeah.
Not everyone in the chat. Tommy, I fact check you, but Craig, I take his word at face value.
Craig does know what's up.
Well, guys, it is that time of morning. I hope you brought something to munch on, something to snack on, something to eat bright and early this Tuesday morning, because we got everything else you need. We got the news, we got the stories. You just got to bring your own breakfast. Coop, you bring something to eat this morning?
So yeah, I do. I have an English muffin and a banana and a orange juice and iced coffee today. And I'll tell you how we arrived at iced coffee today. And I know that like New Englanders drinking iced coffee in the cold is kind of a hacky bit, but it is true. Like I always get iced coffee when I go to Doug's, but I usually drink hot coffee. But yesterday I loaded up my coffee machine like early. I was like, you know what, I usually do it the morning of, but I'm like, I'm gonna load it up tonight. That way I just hit the button tomorrow and I have an extra minute to do whatever. So I do that, but like I'm such a dummy and like my brain is so programmed to make it that I made it and then I hit the button. And I didn't even know I did until I looked at it and there was coffee in there. So I was like, oh, dumb. I'll put this in the jar and I'll put it in the fridge. And then I loaded it back up and then I hit the button again. And I didn't even notice it.
You made 2 pots of coffee last night.
Last night I made 2 pots of coffee, put one in the fridge, but this one I didn't even like. Neither one of them my brain recognized I hit the button. So I woke up this morning and went to hit the button, and I looked in the thing, and there was coffee in it. I was like, dude, am I the stupidest person? Like, what am I doing? So now now I'm loaded up with ice. It's a nice coffee week, boys. Let me tell you, we got coffee ready to rock.
The human brain is so funny. You know what I mean? Even with the intention of do not screw this up, you went into autopilot mode again and just pushed the button.
And did it again.
Like while you're actively thinking, like, you idiot, I can't believe you made that coffee.
I can't believe I made
again, walk away.
As I was thinking it, and I did that. Like,
Dude, I will just suddenly come to, and I will just be like standing in the kitchen holding a fork, with no recollection of how I got there, why I'm there. So I'm with you, Coop. I get it.
100%.
Xenophobic and dismissive of people they called.
What you just heard was a little bit of SPQR by Mary Beard on Audibles. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for that. I was listening to that this morning as I got ready.
There you go.
The history of ancient Rome.
You listened
by
to
the way,
poems this morning?
Yeah, I was listening to poems.
Shel Silverstein. I was thinking of Sylvia Plath, by the way.
Sylvia Plath. That is, similar cadence to Shel Silverstein.
Yeah.
I could see how the names could get crisscrossed.
Yeah.
Craig in the chat said Theater Seuss Geisel had some bangers too. Yeah, Dr. Seuss put out some decent work. And Tommy in the chat said, I'm mildly insulted that I don't take his word at face value. Well, I mean,
be Craig.
Can you blame me?
Yeah.
Send me an oven mitt. Join the Grimace Gang.
Show us your feet.
Show us your feet, Tommy.
Show us your feet, Tommy.
We are now 3 minutes into BYOB, and we've asked someone to show us their feet already. We didn't make it very long today.
No, we did not.
That's going to become the company slogan. Front Yard Fantasy.
Show us your feet.
Show us your feet.
We're gonna have to work. We're gonna have to workshop that.
Okay, we'll workshop it. Well, guys, I wanted to start us off with some news that Tommy mentioned in his Edgar Allan Poe inspired poem this morning. We got a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain to what is going on with Lamar Jackson yesterday. He tweeted out a letter to his fans where he wanted to explain a little bit about what was going on. Thank everybody for their love and support. But what he put out there that we didn't have info to yet. This is a quote from Lamar Jackson on his Twitter. He said, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization, for which the Ravens have not been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that has met me or been around me knows I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. You all are great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family and I. No matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore Flock Nation and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again.
Yeah. Yep.
So when's he signing that new deal with the Ravens, you think?
Yeah, which contingency of fans would you fall under? Because I've now seen 2. I've seen I'm done with this stupid team, or which.
When did I say that?
Not you.
No,
I'm asking you which of these are you? Because for instance, Thomas Tipple he's a Ravens fan, but he says he's so Team Lamar at this point that he's going wherever Lamar's going. He'll be a Ravens fan if he's with the Ravens. If he goes somewhere else, then he might go with. Or are you the other contingency of Ravens fans are basically just saying, can we just figure this out? Because I'm a Ravens fan and I'll root for Lamar or I'll move on. But like, let's just get this over with. So what corner would you say that you fall into?
I probably fall closer into that second corner, but I feel like I don't need it to be over.
Yeah.
Like, this is them figuring it out. That's fine. I'm not too worried about it. I don't feel like uncomfortable or any sort of sense of urgency about this. This is just sort of the game and how it's played. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm also probably less invested than a lot of Ravens fans, so maybe that's the key. But
yeah, I think that's probably a big part of it.
This seems to be escalating further from a point where a resolution is than getting closer to a resolution. Like, the words that came out yesterday didn't seem to be one of, oh, we've made progress. They seem to be inflammatory in a non-accusatory way. Know what I mean? Like, just like inflammatory, not in a Lamar Jackson said anything wrong. He was wildly respectful with his words, but letting people know, like, look, this is what I said. This is what I asked for. They're not meeting it. I want out.
Are we shocked
he's
at all by this?
No, he's escalating publicly because it hasn't been working privately. So
right. That's kind of how I viewed it. Is like, we already knew this is how he felt. So him putting this out there doesn't really change much apart from just, I guess, confirming that.
It's the next step.
It's the next step. You're right. And I think you described perfectly, Simon. You said he wasn't getting what he needed to privately. And so putting that stuff out publicly is a move. It's just a chess move, right?
Yeah. What was that guy's name again that was supposedly walking around talking to NFL teams about him?
Ken Francis? No. So Saint Omni was the other one. The
different one.
And everyone,
the chess butthole guy.
Well, because Saint Omni was the only mysterious figure that we knew of at the time. And so when the rumors came out that Lamar was using one of these like shadow agents, obviously we went to Saint Omni, but then they dropped another bomb on us with the Ken Francis. They were like, his guy's actually Ken Francis. So apparently,
I'm starting to think that whole Ken Francis thing was just a marketing tactic
to sell his like invention, his like workout invention.
Yeah. Did you guys see the video he posted this weekend of him using it?
Nah, is it cool?
It's just like him like doing this.
Wait, what was he doing?
Oh, you guys can't see it, but I'm kicking my feet.
Oh, okay. That makes it so much better. Like the little old lady I saw at Kava the other day, just kicking them back and forth.
Just kicking them back and forth.
Well, let me ask you: Did he look yoked at least?
Looks pretty yoked. Oh wait, no, that's the person Simon saw. So I guess he's supposed to answer.
I'm looking at this tweet from Lamar right now, and the top comment on it is from one Isaiah McKenzie, saying, "Come on over, my boy. We got room." Isaiah McKenzie now with
where does he even play? Where is he? What team is he even on?
He's rallying to have Lamar Jackson replace Josh Allen. He is no longer on the Bills. He is with the Colts. But he wants him there.
It's just like a funny thing to recruit somebody as someone who's just got on the team.
He's like, "Come on over. We got room."
It's like, what team are you on, my guy? Albert in here say, "Good morning, everyone." Did you already hit Albert's question?
No, what's up, Albert?
Good morning, Albert.
And Craig says Rodgers for Lamar. Who says yes? Now that would be wild. If the Packers, the reason they're holding out from the Jets, what if it's because they're waiting to see how the situation goes with Lamar Jackson and maybe they can pull that one off?
Nope.
That'd be wild. JL's favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
I was going to say that's suddenly where JL switches camps to side number one.
Which JL?
I got nothing against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make that move from Lamar Jackson to Aaron Rodgers.
Would you rather the fake trade for Aaron Rodgers or the other fake trade for Kirk Cousins?
Give me Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins.
Fair.
That's tough. Yeah. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, the Jets decided to do the really smart move of coming out and just saying that they're not at all interested in Lamar Jackson, only Aaron Rodgers, and just decide to, get rid of any possible leverage they could have had. Like just in case anyone was wondering, like they wanted to make sure everyone knows we don't have any leverage. We're completely at the mercy of the Packers. What do you guys think? Do you think that's smart play?
Well, luckily they have a good backup plan in case the Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't. Oh.
Wait a minute.
Oh
No, I
Did
think
you guys
that's
check this?
I think it's pretty stupid.
yeah.
To close your options off like that, to go, it better work. Know what I mean? It's stupid unless it works. And then if they get Aaron Rodgers and this team is great, which that's a very real possibility if they do get Aaron Rodgers, then who cares if they cut off their leverage? Like right now, it seems stupid, but if they say this is the path forward and it works, then stupid's only something that doesn't work whenever you're in the NFL.
I think they're going to have to pay up regardless because of this, though. Because you throw out all your leverage in a negotiation like this, you're stuck at the mercy of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, which it sounds like the Packers have also, to a certain degree, been stuck at the mercy of Aaron Rodgers. If you see the quotes coming from the other side, did you guys see those?
No.
So Brian Gutekunst basically came out and said that all offseason he said, I tried to contact Aaron Rodgers many times this offseason to discuss how he would fit into the Packers' future. And our inability to reach him or for him to respond in any way, I think at that point I had to start doing my job. So basically it was like, we actually kept reaching out to this guy. We're trying to get hold of him all offseason to see what his deal was, and he never even responded. So at that point, we had to just assume that he wasn't going to be here. Like, that's a little bit different than what we heard from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. Is it not?
That is.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he had stated that he's been talking to the Packers, but this is insightful news. And it just goes in that whole narrative of that he's just done. He's done with that Green Bay franchise.
Well, Rodgers, what he said, he was like, all I wanted was he basically said he felt disrespected. And he was like, all I wanted was for them to reach out and say, hey, you've been a great part of this franchise and the history of the franchise, but we're going in another direction. And he said that they never did that, which is why he felt disrespected, but sounds like they were trying to get a hold of him, dude. And he just was like, new phone.
Maybe they got the numbers. Yeah. Maybe they got their phone numbers mixed up.
Who dis? Yeah. He only picks up if it's Miles Teller.
Right. That's it. His one friend.
Yeah.
I also think this could be a situation where Brian was fully aware that Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to answer his phone because they'd already crossed that line. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he may be coming out like, look, I tried to contact him. I know, like, okay, you tried to contact him, but you ruined the relationship previously. And I'm not putting all the blame on him. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is maybe the easiest person for a coach or GM to come in and build a relationship with. Like, not to say anything negative about either party, but that's not an easy thing to do. And this could be someone well past the point of open communication, just coming out and saying like, look, I tried. I gave him a call.
Yeah.
I'm not putting too much like this was disrespectful by Aaron Rodgers. I think the disrespect, whichever side it came from, likely came much earlier. And this was him just doing what he had to do. It would be irresponsible in his job not to call him. But I don't think he expected answers.
That makes sense.
Tommy said, leaving options open, hurt feelings, yada, yada, yada.
That's what Tommy says in every fight.
He says the NFL is like a dating game.
I'd miss that part.
Yeah. That makes
yada,
a
yada,
more
feelings,
sense.
yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hey, there was one player who did find a new spot. No hurt feelings. He is ready to partay in Cincinnati. Irv Smith Jr.
Let's go.
Reportedly.
Sign a 1-year deal.
Yeah, like 11:45 at night last night. I had people tagging me like, "What do you think?" Like, I don't know.
It's your own fault. You made your own bed.
I can't think. I just made 2 pots of coffee for no reason in the middle of the night. You think I could think?
It's called the tight end breakfast. 2 pots of coffee prepared the night before.
2 pots of coffee.
Two pots, 1 room
15
temperature.
watermelons.
1
32 cantaloupes.
and 1 banana.
1 big old banana.
1 big old juicy banana.
He has no idea we're talking about.
Nope.
What do you think about it?
I was trying to find what the contract was, but I couldn't find it.
Do you think there's any relevancy with Irv Smith to the Bengals?
No.
No.
I guess so. Here's the problem: is that we look at that landing spot. We want guys that can be top 2 targets on their team. Obviously, with everyone healthy, that's well out of the question because it's not like in our minds. It's like maybe he can compete with Tyler Boyd, but that's competing to be the 3rd target because T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are the top targets. Last year, we saw Jamar Chase miss a third of the season. Right, he missed a full third of the season. T. Higgins missed. Like if you look at T. Higgins' game log, or if you look at his stats, it suggests that he played 16 games. But in one of the games, Joe, you're not muted. In one of the games, he played 1% of the snaps. He played 1 snap. So like T. Higgins also missed 3 games. Tyler Boyd also missed 2 games, and Hayden Hurst was not relevant. Not at any point during that stretch was I sitting there saying you should start Hayden Hurst, even with Jamar Chase out. So I'm just not sure in what world we sit. Like, what needs to happen for us to sit here and say I trust Irv Smith Jr.
He
2
needs
injuries
to not be on the Bengals,
or 2 injuries, right? Or like
2 injuries,
or maybe, yeah. But even with, I was gonna say maybe just 1 injury to Jamar Chase frees up enough targets if it's highly consolidated among the 3 players. But I mean that happened last year, and Hayden Hurst, we weren't like jumping all over to start him or Mitchell Wilcox or whoever. So, and the other problem with it is that, like, people are like, oh, it's a great landing spot for Dynasty. Because what if Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins leave next year when they're free agents? Well, it's a 1-year deal. So Irv Smith isn't on the Bengals next year. He also needs to re-up with the Bengals. So it really, I guess, I mean, for me, I'd be happy as an Irv Smith fan because now I could look around and see whose analysis stops at, oh, it's Joe Burrow's tight end, or whose analysis starts at, I want pieces of this offense. Just give me any piece of this offense. Like if that's someone's analysis, trade them Irv Smith Jr. They're gonna love having a guy that they really can't use in their league.
Go find the Joe Burrow manager and see if maybe they're interested. Right. You'd be shocked how much a little stack action can get someone excited in fantasy football. Oh, I get this stack.
Gets me fired up. It really it does serve as a good tiebreaker, I will say. But
yeah,
I mean, just like that sounds like a nightmare. Like, and we say maybe in best ball, but this is the exact situation where you can say that because we know Joe Burrow is going to throw touchdowns. We know he's capable of throwing them to anybody, and we know Irv Smith Jr. is capable of catching 2 touchdowns in 1 game. So in best ball, where I have to take 3 or 4 tight ends, sure, I'll make Irv Smith one of those guys at the right price. I think he's going to be too expensive, but maybe at the right price. But in a league where I have to start my quarterback, like pick my quarterback and start him, no, my tight end start him, like no chance, dude. I just can't. I can't trust the guy that's, Hayden Hurst was the 5th target on the team, not the 4th. It went Jamar Chase. It went T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Hayden Hurst. Just not interested in that.
Neither. I would love to be interested in Irv Smith Jr. I feel like there was hype coming out, and it just never quite materialized. He can be a decent role player here for the Bengals, but not someone I'm drafting in fantasy, probably across any formats. Maybe not even in best ball. That's where he stands. He's not even on the maybe in best ball tier. He's on the maybe not in best ball tier for me.
Yeah. I'm probably just completely out, honestly.
He's just got one of those names that I feel like even though he hasn't quite done it yet, it drives up his ADP, like the hype that was around him. There was a group that was excited. And so now each year there's the what if that pushes him up maybe a couple spots higher than he should be.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. That's how it feels.
JL, are you in?
On Irv Smith's name? It's a pretty good name.
Actually is a really nice name.
It's like a combination of old and young man.
That's why they used it twice.
Irv Smith Jr. Yeah, I'm not in on Irv Smith. I agree with your points, Coop. It's going to be tough. We haven't seen a tight end really do it on this team in the last few years because they're just haven't built around him. I don't know if there's much more to add beyond that.
Speaking of not much more to add beyond that, Bill Belichick, the man of few words, had a nice little quote for us yesterday when he was asked, what would you say to fans to be optimistic for what's ahead for the Patriots? Did you guys see this?
No. What did he say?
Bill Belichick responded, the last 25 years.
Yes.
What a legend, dude.
The last 25 years. What a funny response.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What would you say to fans to be optimistic for what's ahead for the Patriots the last 25 years? He said, get out of here.
What's funny though is that he's been such a what have you done for me lately coach, this or like, because he's the GM too, like, you know, the exact kind of guy that's like, we're not going to pay you based on past performance, but now he's asking everybody, he's basically turning around and saying, well, what about all that, you know?
That is pretty funny.
It's such a flip, but he can do whatever he wants because he's Bill Belichick. They did the did you guys see the picture of the coach's picture that they do the coach's portrait every year?
I know I haven't seen it this year. I saw it last year.
Yeah. Oh, it's out. And there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot
I have not.
to unpack.
I remember last
man.
year seeing
It's like
a
Matt
lot
Rule's
to
cargo
unpack.
shorts.
Oh yeah, dude. That I like how McDaniel and Gannon managed to sit next to each other for this
It's
one.
the
deal.
goofy squad.
The goon squad over there on the side. McVay, I like how McVay, the young guys are over there, and McVay's like, nah, dude, I'm not sitting with those guys.
Not sitting with this guy.
I'm looking through trying to. God, some of these guys are just tanks.
Yeah.
The way they're built out there.
Or we're gonna have to
Andy
pull up this
Reid, dude.
picture, Keith.
Look at Belichick sitting next to Andy Reid. Looks like he's got like the middle seat on the plane, and he just like scooched in like this.
Why does
So
Belichick
stitched.
look like a little boy between his uncles at Thanksgiving?
Can we get that picture up, Keith? The like also, what is Andy Reid wearing on his feet? It looks like he like dipped his feet in pancake batter, and those are the shoes he decided to wear. What are those, dude?
What's going on with Sean Payton here? This man is sitting up way too straight.
Yeah, he looks like that. No, that's perfect form, dude. That's peak coach performance right there.
He looks like he's back, ready for his comeback tour.
That's a strong sit.
It's
And Mike
wild.
McDaniel and Jonathan Gannon, they got the full goofy slouch. So they're both sitting there like,
Yeah, but you know who really you know who really won this picture though.
Mike Vrabel.
Oh no, it's Sean McDermott, top second from the left, with the
With the shades
with
on.
the shades and the bald head, dude. Like he's bringing
Oh, you're
serious.
talking about Brian Dable?
Brian
Oh
Dable.
no, Brian Dable. Oh, sorry.
Sean McDermott's
What did
up.
I say? Oh, I said McDermott down there. No, yeah, Brian Dable.
Here's a zoom in on Belichick that Keith got up for us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
look
the
at
full
that.
image, but Belichick sitting between. He looks like a little boy between his uncles on Thanksgiving. Like he's got his shorts on, but his fancy shoes and shirt. We're going to
Yeah.
Easter dinner.
Those are his fancy shoes. Those are like $40 Nikes, dude, with like the
They're
big,
his fancy shoes.
What else do
Scoop.
you want?
the big thick laces, dude. Yeah.
They don't have grass stains on them.
Multi-millionaire. Those are what he's rocking. And the two of them. Look at Andy Reid's shoes. Dude.
This has got to be the most dad photo of all time. Know what I mean? Like they are
Why
all
do I look
rocking.
forward to this every year?
It's the best,
Every,
dude.
every year, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch the picture where they all have to get together and they're forced to pose together.
When else do 32 grown men get forced to get together in a field for a group photo?
Omega said Andy wearing his house shoes. Like 100%. Like the slippers I'm wearing right now are like
They
indoor
look
slippers.
that could be exactly what Andy Reid was
That
wearing.
might
on
be
his feet.
exact. Yeah, that
Hey,
might be what he's
dude,
wearing.
no way. These are way nicer than those. Those look like
Looks
they're
like a-
falling apart, dude. They're like,
Dude, Belichick's got some nice Nikes on though. I
don't
didn't
know, man.
take him for a Nike guy.
I zoomed in, man, and those are definitely like Air Monarchs, dude. Like,
Jail,
those
it's
are-
in his name, Belichick.
Oh,
Hey.
just do it.
Get him, dude. Yeah, but can we get the zoom? Can we get the Brian Dable zoom at some point, dude? He's looking like he's bringing some serious body.
Omega King in the chat said, "What are those?"
Those.
What are those?
He's bringing the bodyguard vibes, 100%.
The shades are cracking me up with the reflective lenses as well. Know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
It's not just enough for them to be aviators. Dable's sitting over there rocking reflective lens aviators with a smirk on his face.
Straight
eye
up
protection.
cop vibes.
Eye protection's
Ron
paramount.
Rivera's got a blue polo, but it's a blue Washington Commanders polo. I didn't even know this
Yeah.
existed.
Someone also pointed out that he's sitting in between two chairs for some reason.
Yes. He totally is. He looks the most comfortable though, so you know what? Maybe it's working. He's like the
Yeah.
least smushed.
I think I think Andy Reid next to him might be doing a chair and a fourth. I think that might be the problem there. He might be doing a chair and change over there. So
Who looks the most squished?
uh
Who's the guy on
so-
the far right on the bottom? The one who does not fit on that chair. He needed to size that chair up.
I don't know who that is.
they didn't distribute the chairs properly. Is that Mike McCarthy? I can't. I'm
Oh,
having
it
a
might
hard
be
time
Mike
seeing it.
McCarthy.
Yeah, but
Doesn't
the
really
most,
look like him.
the most squished is in between Pete Carroll and Mike McDaniel. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, whoever that guy is.
That's
Stefanski
Kevin
is.
Stefanski right there.
Yeah.
He's got full overlap right there.
Sometimes you got to do that like that again. I hate to go back to it, but that is such a airplane middle seat move. Be like, I'm back
The
here.
overlap.
Like I'm either gonna be up here on my laptop or I'm gonna be back here chilling. But like we can't all.
You got to
be-
pick one.
We can't all be existing on the same plane here. It's like if we
Right.
pulled up to a red light and we all stopped evenly next to each other. Like you can't live like that. That's
Right.
psycho. That's psycho business.
Who's the guy between Mike Tomlin and Vrabel? Because his face, I don't know if he just shit his pants or what, but he, or if it's the sun in his eyes, but he looks concerned in his face. Like I'm zooming in now and scrolling through looking for the details. Who is
Trying-
that man?
I'm trying to find
And
where
why
they
is
are
he
in the
so
picture.
concerned?
what is
Back-
ailing him?
Back row 2 or 3 to the right from Dable. So find the shades, move 3 people to the right, and look how concerned that man's face is.
Yeah. He seems. I think that part of the picture is getting blasted with the sun. So I think. So I think Dable's the only one that's actually like. He actually is doing the right thing here. That
And
dude is
Vrabel
doing,
and Tomlin are just tough.
yeah, he's doing battle with the sun.
Yeah, we got it pulled up right here. Who is that?
He's doing
Whose
battle with
dad
the
just
sun,
snuck into the photo.
and the sun is winning.
Yeah, we just posted the picture in the chat. If you guys want to take a gander at this a little up close, have your own time zooming in, finding little things to giggle about. What you need to do the rest of today is zoom in on every aspect of this. Everybody's
think it's
buttons,
important.
everybody's shoes, everybody's smile, everybody's shirt. Look for all of the possible malfunctions or embarrassing things, and then you can talk about it.
Yeah, and then when you like, if you just want a good example of why it's such a ridiculous picture, just go look at the picture of all the GMs, and they're wearing suit jackets. They look like normal people that were brought out to a business meeting, which is what's going on here, right? And then you have these dudes that have half of them have reached the point of like, don't care. I'm the head ball coach.
Is
I'm wearing
Belichick in the
shorts.
GM's photo?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think he is in that.
That would be funny. A bunch of guys in suits and then Belichick in a ripped up hoodie with some cargo shorts.
There are a couple GMs though. I will say that like I think they overdid it on the business casual combo where it's like you wear like a suit jacket, but then you're also wearing a pair of like Air Forces. Like I know that that's kind of the style, but
It's in right now.
yeah, but
It's
the
the vibe, bro.
forces are a little taking it to another level. You got to at least wear those like Allen Edmonds fake sneaker dress shoes. Like you can't.
I like it with the
Me too.
straight up like Nike
Just
basketball
basketball shoes.
sneakers thrown on with a look. I'm a fan.
I
Me
will
too.
give you this.
Thank you.
If they're too, I'm not giving you the
I
whole
will
thing.
receive it.
I'm not giving you the whole thing. I'll give you two-tone Nikes. You can have two colors. If there's any more than that on the Nikes, then I'm not allowing it.
Uh-oh. I wore 3 color Nikes. What are you gonna do?
I mean, if you're wearing a prize picks shirt, then that's fine. But if you're wearing a suit jacket to a meeting with other executives, then I will say, hey, one too many colors on those shoes, my boy.
Omega
And
King
I'll
said
say,
Coop's
"Watch
most
me."
boomer take. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm with you on this one.
they
Here's
get-
where I stand on shoes. I like it. And if you want to wear boring, plain brown dress shoes with your suit, then fine, go ahead. All good. I've got
and you look
no
awesome.
judgment. I've got no judgment towards how awesome you look. And you're more than welcome to be in charge of your own footwear.
No judgment about how awesome you look. I like that.
and you're free to do as you please without any approval from me.
There
You're
you go.
welcome, Coop.
I doubt they care. What
You're
I think.
welcome.
I think we'd all agree on that. I doubt they care what we think, but I'm just saying I'm weighing in. I had to.
Oh, I was giving
It's-
you permission.
Oh yeah, of course I'm gonna wear nice shoes, dude. My shoes are dope as hell. I probably wear something like this. I wear a nice like dress boot.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's cool.
Dude, these are fire.
Those are pretty cool.
It's a
I
great
also want such cool
Civil War
shoes.
activities, I'm sure.
stomping down south. Yeah, I mean, dude, Civil War was great. Ended racism, JL. What do you know about that?
Yeah, surely. That's what
Yeah,
put it to
ended
an end.
racism.
As we
Well,
all
it was.
know.
It ended.
As we all
sla-
know, the great achievement of the Civil War was ending
It-
racism.
It ended slavery, and it was the beginning of the long journey towards the end of racism.
It is part of that journey, yeah. Dustin in here said, I'm pretty sure that's Todd Bowles next to Tomlin.
It is.
Is it?
Well, not
Yeah, that's
not
Todd
the,
Bowles.
but there's two
To the
people next
left.
to Tomlin.
Yeah, to the left is Todd Bowles.
Not who I was thinking of, who I'm trying to identify. That makes sense. That didn't look anything like Todd Bowles, the guy I was trying to identify. Well, speaking of Mike McDaniel looking goofy in this photo, he had a quote yesterday talking about the Commanders. He said, wow, the organization is worth that much, and I couldn't get free coffee. Whenever he found out what they were trying to sell it for, he worked there from 2011 to 2013. Ari Myrov tweeted this quote out, but I just love
Wow.
McDaniels. Everything he says is goofy, and it just blows my mind every time we hear about these organizations like not providing pretty basic things, or this one's not a necessity. The Cardinals were depriving their employees of workout facilities in the offseason. The Commanders so cheap that they can't provide coffee to the head coach of their football team.
Or he
seems
was the head
wild,
coach,
man.
or one of the coaches.
Or
yeah.
one of the coaches. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
no,
an
it's
assistant coach over there.
Dustin sent us this clip yesterday. I was watching it, and he was just kind of it was just a funny interview with McDaniels. He wasn't disparaging Washington. The reporter was asking him about his time in Washington and about Dan Snyder giving up the franchise, and if that surprised him. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, it's kind of surprising. Like, that guy struck me as just the type of guy that like he lived for that team, for owning that team. That was like his whole thing." And then at the end, whenever they showed him how much money he was worth, he's like, "Yeah, you think it'd be enough coffee? Think you'd get free coffee?" Just pretty wild.
So, dude, McDaniel's so good, bro. That's where his mind went on that. When they told him, like, he just sitting there, he's like,
Yeah, it wasn't mean. It was just like that was he's literally verbalizing his thoughts.
right, like, I couldn't get a free coffee. Like, dude, are you kidding me? But I mean, the funny thing is, like, what else can you really say to that number? Because it's not like he was going to be like, "Oh, I'll buy the team." I mean,
Oh wow.
yeah.
He says, huh? Man, really could have afforded a cup of coffee. Like, that is funny. He just verbalizes what he's thinking out there. And I feel like we see that on the sidelines as well, right? This isn't out of character for him. And I'm starting to enjoy every time we get to hear this man interviewed. It feels genuine whenever we hear him talk. It doesn't feel rehearsed or scripted. He's like the anti-Russell Wilson, where they both say a lot of words whenever they're up there talking, right? They're not shy to get in front of the mic, but Russ feels very like manicured and prepared and scripted, everything he says. McDaniel's just like similar kind of dude. It seems like they're both good dudes. He's just, yeah. But it's a can of silly string. It's not a gun.
Can you imagine him walking up to you at like the combine, just
Silly strings you, dude. And you just don't.
Except when pretending, I got my hand stuck in my pocket without even reaching for anything. That'd be a total McDaniel move. He goes to silly string you.
I bet, dude. It's like that moment where like you want to laugh, but you're not sure when you're supposed to. Like, I bet that happens all the time hanging out with McDaniel and Gannon with these prospects, where they're just sitting there like getting silly stringed all over the face, just like,
But nobody's laughing yet.
but nobody's laughing.
And they let out a couple test laughs. I know what you're talking about. We're like,
Right? It's just like,
test laughs.
is that the
I
joke?
just see him getting there.
A
Is
little
that the
test laughs,
joke?
just feeling it out.
Yeah.
Is
No,
this
I-
the right moment?
I always side with liking both those guys. You know, it'll get, obviously, if there ever comes a point where they're really messing up and the team is and a lot of the blame is falling on them, it'll get really weird. But for the time being, be as weird as you want as long as you're getting results, right?
Yeah, I do think Mike McDaniel wouldn't be as loved if his team wasn't performing well. But that being said, hopefully now because his team performed well and he looks like this, he's gained some respect and maybe a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
As you build that rep, you get a little bit more leeway with the wins and losses.
For sure. Tim said that's
Speaking of
now
leeway.
that's my coach.
Now,
No, that's my coach.
you know what? That is the perfect Tim fan or fan coach combo. Tim and Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, for
Absolutely,
sure.
dude.
I can't think of a better combo.
Also, we got Meat
Unapologetically
Mansion
weird.
coming in a little late saying, my fault, I'm late. Just got done taking the 110s for a thrill ride in the incline press training for wolf hunting. Hot damn,
I
man.
understand some of that.
Meat Man, dude. The Meat Man, no, there's been a notorious argument in one of my dynasty leagues about whether or not you could take a wolf one-on-one, which Meat Man seems pretty confident that he could. Everyone else is pretty confident that he would be murdered. What do you guys think? Do you guys think one-on-one, you versus a wolf? Who wins?
Do I get a
Straight
weapon?
No weapon, dude. Just hands.
No, absolutely not.
Murder.
Right. These have
Not a
like,
chance in hell.
right. The like pressure of the jaws of a wolf bite. Like if they get you one time, especially if they get you one time, it's over.
Yeah, I'm not fast enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not brave enough.
Yeah. I definitely don't have the pain tolerance to like
I don't think
fight through being chomped up by a wolf.
the only thing I have going for me is my fear of death and desire to stay alive. You know what I mean? Like it's really strong, both of those things. All my favorite things happen when I'm alive. Not a single one of my favorite things happens when I'm dead, as far as I know. So like that alone is my only saving grace in any of these situations.
Think about a human biting you, that can do some damage, right? A human's jaws can bite at about 120 pounds per square inch. Wolf jaws bite at about 400 pounds per square inch. So we are talking the clamps here. Like you're in.
I don't even
serious
think. I think you
trouble.
could sew their mouth shut and they'd still kill me. With the
Yeah,
claws that they have, they're fast. They can jump. Like I'm not surviving. We're not more athletic. There's not a single thing we're better at than wolves than thinking. And you got 2 seconds.
And
yeah,
that's
and
what
your
that wolf's
hands.
on-
And your hands. That's
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, you got thumbs and a brain, and that's not going to matter too much when you don't have thumbs anymore.
and they're talking like
'Cause
400.
The wolf ate them off.
From what I'm reading,
Exactly.
400's like average, and it gets up to 1,000, which is literally eating your hands off. So yeah, I'm probably all set with that experiment. But there you go. Meat Man just says the rear naked choke is what he would go for.
I'm not sure you could even get your arms
I'm
around
not sure
their
being
neck.
naked's gonna help you, guy.
Well, he's always naked.
It's to freak him out. As you walk up, the wolf's like,
"What is
"Dude,
that?"
What, dude?
Maria said, "Every guy, I could totally take on a wolf." He said Simon's honesty is the best.
There's no chance in hell.
Dustin wants to know if the wolf is relentless or not. Yeah, in this hypothetical scenario, the wolf is
Is the
relentless.
wolf relentless?
Yeah, no.
And
it's
Omega
not
said
just
we
like-
did this wolf thing on HH one night. Spaceman was adamant he could do
Of
it.
course he was, dude.
I think you
Like-
guys are really underestimating the size, strength, and ferocity of a wolf. Like, just Google like how big is a wolf. Don't just Google wolf and pull up a YouTube video, and they're going to show you a video of some woman who like trained wolves, and there's a wolf like as tall as she is.
Have you done this recently?
Every once in a while, you Google how big a wolf
exactly what
is.
video is going to show up when I type in wolf.
He is 100% picturing coyotes. And the other part, me, is that you've already been defeated by your own dog. Me was at his sister's house, and the gate opened, and the dog ran while it was on the leash and just tore his pectoral muscle. And this is the guy who
The
thinks
dog
that he's
did or
doing-
he did?
he tore his pectoral muscle. Meat Mansion did.
So
So
the dog
he
ran out.
Oh no, it's his bicep. His bicep. As the dog ran out. And this is the guy who thinks he's going to take down a wolf, dude. You couldn't even handle Gavin.
How do we know the wolf's name isn't Gavin?
It is, but it's a much bigger Gavin.
What if this is like a rookie fever type situation? Now all of a sudden his bicep is super strong.
Ooh, what was it? Rookie of the year? Was that
Rookie
what
of the year. What did I?
Yeah.
What did I say?
I think
Rookie
you said Rookie Fever.
That's
That's it.
that's not a movie.
But once you said it, I knew exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
rookie of the year.
Meat Magic could have a super dog
Strong
tested
pec.
strong arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So strong, get your
Could be
strong
like
arms
Al.
up in the chat. It's like Big Al. So we'll see. We'll see, dude. Someday.
Omega in here said like 4x a husky. LMAO. Yeah,
Massive.
a wolf is like a 4x husky.
Speaking of 4X Huskies, did you guys see the Brock Purdy shakeup yesterday?
No.
No,
Is
what
he
happened?
okay? What shook him? Was it Trey Lance?
49ers GM John Lynch came out and endorsed Brock Purdy as a starter. He said, quote, I think Brock has earned the right with the way he played that he's probably the leader in the clubhouse at that. If we were to line up, he'd probably take the first snap.
Damn. I mean,
Wow.
you could just overanalyze this to hell. You could take this so many different directions and create a fully believable argument. And I'm going to do one of them. This is coach speak, trying to light a fire under their third overall pick, Trey Lance, after he hasn't started for a couple years, after he's been injured. This is not him giving the starting job to Brock Purdy. This is saying, look, we've seen more from Brock Purdy, and Trey Lance, you're going to have to prove it. But they want Trey Lance to be the starter. There's different varieties of coach speak, and in my mind, this is the one to light a fire under Trey Lance's ass, not to inspire confidence in Brock Purdy.
Bingo, dude. I'm 100% on board with that. And this is one of the few times where the way he worded it, I'm actually okay with it. Because I typically don't like when players and coaches talk to each other through the media. I'd rather have them just talk to each other. But, if you can say something like that with a little bit of honesty on top of it and say, hey, you know what? He led this team. He's a leader in this locker room. Then I kind of like that. So maybe I think you might be right, Simon. I think that's the message here is, hey, Trey, if you want to be a leader to this team, you got to step up and be the leader
because we got a pretty good one right here.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to see.
It's a good point. If they were to just give the job to Trey and be like, he's the leader, even though he's not stepping up, it could be bad for morale.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is a good move. And Coop, you brought up a great point. Sometimes I didn't even think about it because this quote just seemed very respectful, but we've seen quotes like this in the past that have really rubbed me the wrong way. Whenever coaches come out and it just seems like they're kind of trash talking, or like it is to light a fire. It's meant to be motivational, but it doesn't look right. It doesn't seem like the healthiest way for them to communicate. This seems all right. This seems just like him being honest about the situation, but lighting a little bit of that fire, letting them know it's your turn. Step up, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So we got Adam in here saying, morning, jabronis.
Morning, jabroni.
What up, my friend?
You keep using this word jabroni, and it's awesome.
It's a good word.
That's an always funny
it.
quote. Yeah, strong word.
Omega King down here saying, Meat Mansion has a strong arm? No way.
just the one.
Just the one for Meat Mansion.
Woo!
Ooh,
boy.
That's what I was thinking.
What do y'all say we get into a little bit of whittle?
I got one more very important thing to say before we do that.
All right.
It's super important. Robert Sala's come out and says that Zach Wilson will be the Jets' number 2 quarterback.
Let's go. Good for him.
Honestly, at this point, that's pretty good. Right.
The fact that Robert Saleh didn't come out and say F Zach Wilson is probably like a positive development for his camp.
Right.
But number 2, which means as of right now, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson will be the starting quarterback. And then my favorite part about this quote, though, is him saying, Zach Wilson's the only quarterback on this depth chart, right? They haven't added anybody else, but he's still currently second on the depth chart.
That is actually hilarious.
For nobody.
He's second behind a player to be named later.
He's backup quarterback behind fill in the blank. Like they filled out their backup spot before they filled out. That'd be like going into the draft and drafting Jared Goff before you drafted Lamar Jackson.
Can you imagine?
It's like
Why
drafting.
would you do that? Doesn't make any sense.
Zach Wilson's your starter for now. Just come out and say it. Zach Wilson's our starting quarterback for the time being.
Because we don't have anybody.
But
Because it's March.
Yeah. Hey, well, before we move on, I do want to say it's interesting you dropped the name Jared Goff there because Brad Holmes actually just came out and said that the Lions are in a unique position when it comes to drafting a QB, and they've been in communication with Jared Goff about their intentions. That's interesting, right?
Yeah, and that goes along with the quote from Dan Campbell that came out just speaking Jared Goff's praises. I forget the exact words, but it was very supportive of Jared Goff. Around the same time, I believe both of these quotes came out. So this makes sense. We're likely seeing another situation where we could watch a rookie develop behind a veteran, an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation. That seems like maybe what they're communicating to Jared Goff. And if that's the case, the quarterback that makes the most sense with is probably one Anthony Richardson. So the Lions could be in the market for drafting Anthony Richardson, sit a year or two behind Jared Goff while he develops, because they seem thrilled with Goff in that offense. Like they're more than happy with him at quarterback, and then they can build for the future. I'm all about it. That's now where I want Richardson to land, is there with Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. I would categorize Will Levis also as a high risk, high reward, but less fun. Like Richardson,
medium high risk, medium high reward for Will Levis.
Yeah. So it's interesting for sure. Like you said, like the Chiefs went out and drafted they drafted Patrick Mahomes when they had back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons from Alex Smith. The Eagles went out and drafted Jalen Hurts when they just gave a big contract to Carson Wentz. It's not crazy. And this team, the Lions, have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a third-round pick, which is pick 81, which isn't a bad pick at all, right? Like it's in the kind of towards the top half of that round. So they could honestly, this team, if they felt like it, and with the cap space they have, they could trade. They could use one of those picks on a quarterback. They could use they could trade the second round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. They could use a third round pick on a tight end, and then they would still have a first and second round pick to use on defense. Like this team is loaded up right now with a lot of options to put themselves in a position to compete right now and win that division that is looking as winnable as it's ever been, with Aaron Rodgers potentially leaving, the Vikings kind of in no man's land. The Bears are trying to make a run. So if you want to stay ahead of the Bears, these are the kind of moves you got to make.
Man, that's going to be bizarre if in the next couple of years this division flips and sitting at the top are the Lions and the Bears and sitting at the bottom are the Packers and the Vikings.
Oh, how the turntables. The Patriots are now sitting at the bottom of the AFC East. It happens. It takes 25 years sometimes, but it happens.
It does take 25 years. Bill Belichick seems pretty optimistic, though.
Yeah, he don't care.
JL must have lost his voice this morning.
The past 25 years.
I tried to warn you, JL. I put it in the chat, but I saw you really going in over there. You were doing a voice and a face.
I was just laughing at Bill Belichick's quote.
Yeah.
The last 25 years, you son of a gun. Well, guys, now I think it's time to get into that Weddle. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this. WeddleGame.com. If you've never played with us, this is a lot like Wordle or Quordle or Octordle or Worldle, any of those word games. But instead of guessing countries or words, we're going to be guessing NFL players. So we get a little bit of information each time we guess a player, and we're going to figure it out in 8 guesses. Also, just so you know, I tried this game over the weekend. It's much harder without you guys. I got it, but it took me 7 tries. The problem was I kept naming wide receivers after it told me it wasn't a wide receiver for 4 players.
4 players, Simon?
4 players. 4 players. So
that'll get you.
That'll get you. Coop, where are we starting today? Give me a name.
I picked a name yesterday. JL.
Okay. JL, give me a name.
Calvin Ridley.
Ooh.
Calvin freaking Ridley. Okay.
Hey.
They are not in the AFC, so we know this is an NFC player. They are not a wide receiver. Their height is under 6'1", but close. So 5'11" or 6 foot. And their age is under 28, but close. 26 or 27. And their number is much higher than 18.
Could be a running back.
It's the right height for running back. It could be a quarterback, but I'd say running back is probably.
His numbers
it could be
higher than 18.
There aren't many 6-foot running backs. It's like Cordero Patterson and Derrick Henry.
But Saquon Barkley.
I don't know if he's 6 foot, but we can try him. He could be 5'11".
He is 6 foot. He's a big boy.
Well,
what number is he, Joe?
He's 26.
Let's get him in.
Works. Saquon Barkley. Okay, running back is correct. 6 foot is correct. NFC is correct, but East is not. Age is
27.
Older than, so they're 27 exactly.
27 exactly. Let's see. Dalvin
NFC
Cook is
not East.
Dalvin Cook's number 4.
Swift is 32.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, he's 27 this year. He's also number 30. So he's 33, I want to say.
Taller for a running back.
Yeah. Get him in there. 33. I actually was kind of thinking Aaron Jones last guess, just saying.
Okay, he's 5'9". That's not
Much
I was
shorter.
But you're so
running
short.
back- and you know what? We got a little bit more information though. Not in the NFC North and lower than 33. So it actually has to be between 29 and 30. It has to be
All right.
29 or 30 is their number.
So we have the NFC South and the NFC West. James
Leonard
Con-
Fournette.
James Conner.
James
Connor's
not a
number
bad
is
one.
like 3.
Yeah.
He's
Leonard
tall
Four-
though.
Leonard Fournette's number is 7.
Yeah.
CMC is number 20 something.
He's a little bit.
I think he's
He's
still
like 28,
26 years old.
Oh, is he 26?
I think he's still 26. What number is okay?
Pick one.
There's- Yeah, let's pick a name. What about
Alvin Kamara,
Alvin Kamara?
Let's get him in.
AK 47. Nope, that's not it.
Alvin Kamara, New Orleans is correct. NFC South is correct. Running back is correct. Height is not. Age is correct. So who is another 27-year-old running back on the New Orleans Saints?
How old is Jamal Williams? He was drafted
Jamal-
the same year as Aaron Jones.
Jamal Williams got to be right.
Is that already in the?
I
in the
don't
system?
know. Could be Ingram.
Let's try it.
But Ingram's
No,
Jamal
older.
Williams. is
Ingram's
correct,
30.
guys.
Ingram 30.
Let's go.
Thank goodness. It's
Got
Jamal.
it, baby. We
Damn,
got
that was
it.
a tough one for us. 5. That's
Yeah.
we're
We got
slipping,
to-
boys.
We got to running back on the second one. We got to the position quick, and it still took us 5 tries to get there.
Bay
Tough,
caught us
tough.
slipping. Bay caught us
Tough
slipping.
days. We got Adam in here. I had a question for us. That is taking Garrett Wilson at the 203 in a dynasty too high.
No,
Super
I don't think
flex.
so.
maybe in Superflex actually.
Which
again?
what's more helpful is like which wide receiver off the board is he? Then your format matters less. Like would he be the wide receiver 5 off the board? Because 203 is if no other wide receivers have gone in this freak scenario. Yeah, it's too early because I would take 5, 6 other wide receivers before him.
I've done enough startup mocks, and I've watched the boys at JWB do enough because they're doing them like twice a week, every Monday at the very least. They do one. I've watched you guys do a ton of them. You guys usually do them on Thursdays or Fridays, the mocks when you guys do them.
Every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday, you guys doing the mocks. What I see is that like at the start of the draft, the first 4 wide receivers are always the same, right? It's some combination of Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CD Lamb, AJ Brown. And then it's usually the younger guys that are putting up like 1,300-yard seasons already, like Jalen Waddle. A certain point comes where you need to pick between either the young, unproven guys or the older, proven guys. And it's usually a situation where you're sitting there looking at the board and it's like Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill are both there, 29 years old. And like guys like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are sitting there younger. They roughly had, 1,000 yards each last year. So still unproven to a certain degree, but they're like 21 versus like 29. So at a certain point, that decision comes up and you kind of have to make a call, right?
Yeah.
What do
100%.
you guys typically do? Like, let's say in the first round you drafted, let's say in the first round you took the most neutral possible player. You took AJ Brown. What direction you go in the second round?
Value. If I took a neutral player, if there's value in the running backs that have fallen, know what I mean? Then I'm grabbing.
I mean that out of those 4 players, it's the 4 like say it got all the way back, and the 4 best players available are Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave.
I'm probably taking Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs and building my team from there.
Yeah. And to take the most points right now. Right.
Yep. And wide receivers' careers are generally a little bit longer, so I'm not as worried about that like age apex for them already being passed. They've especially Stephon Diggs, who doesn't rely as much on his speed. So Tyreek Hill would be after Diggs for me. Tyreek Hill, that we see that problem with certain receivers that rely heavily on like their speed or athleticism to be elite. Not that they can't be great, but they have to transition. They have to do something like Larry Fitzgerald, where he changed his game entirely to stay in the league, which not a lot of players do. Players will retire instead of changing their game like that because it's freaking hard, man. Stephon Diggs doesn't rely as much on his speed to be elite, so I feel more comfortable drafting him at his age.
Yep. Guys like that for sure. Like because we saw Larry Fitz do it. We saw Anquan Bolden do it too, where like they just developed into these like possession receivers. I think Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, guys like that could probably play for a long time. And when you look at the truly elite wide receivers, I know we say age apex is 26 to 29. The truly elite guys continue to be elite a lot of times into their 30s. Like the best season that Randy Moss ever had was at 30 years old. The best season Marvin Harrison ever had was 30 years old. The best season Jerry Rice had was 32. And then he tore his ACL at 35, and then he played another like 5 years. Like obviously you just have to take Jerry Rice out of the equation a lot of times because he doesn't count. But like Brandon Marshall, Wes Welker, all these guys were good into their 30s. So I'm not like you said, I'm not too worried about Stephon Diggs being good for quite a while. Devontae Adams as well.
Well, Adam, I hope that answered your question about whether or not you could draft Garrett Wilson at the 203 in a dynasty league.
You can.
Coming up, guys, we've got a bunch of games ready to play with you. We're going to play some Quotey McQuote Face. We've got a postmortem on the Cincinnati Bengals, and then we're going to play a game of vague descriptions. I'm going to teach you a little bit about what we know in the Moreau You Know. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Talk about your picks and your fantasy teams on Better Sports Network.
The importance of checking out the site that you're playing on. Default rankings of these sites. A lot of times they don't get updated. I know from experience. I used to write default rankings for the NFBKC, the basketball version of the NFBC. I'd write these default rankings in June for the NBA, before the NBA draft, before free agency opened up. And guess what? I was never asked to write an update article or update the default rankings. This happens a lot. Maybe if there's something obvious, it gets updated. Aaron Judge, for some reason, hurts his back. Maybe they make that change. Just maybe. But you don't know that. And that's why it's just so important that you show up to your draft room or you do that pre-draft prep. We're all busy. We know we're about to devote a lot of time to our fantasy baseball drafts. Why not spend the extra 20 to 25 minutes to invest properly in your team, to go and see which of those players are way down default rankings? They're going to be different on all of these sites, and you're going to be looking at them and going, maybe their analysts think a certain player who shouldn't be in the top 100, who should be maybe even not even the top 200, will be in that top 100. You got to check that out. You got to know where you're playing, just like you got to know your format when you sign up for the league. It's just so crucial, and people just skip right over it. You think it's cool to show up to the draft room 3 minutes before the draft. Well, number one, it's not cool because the commissioner's trying to make sure it is organized, especially me, who runs auctions. You can't, it's one thing if someone doesn't show up for the snake draft, oh well, doesn't ruin it for everyone. Auctions, you can't have someone not show up. Auto bidding, auto auctioning, it ruins the sanctity of those drafts here, which is why I always recommend, hey, make it easy on your commissioner. Don't make them send those texts there. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't wait till the last minute and get in there about 20, 25 minutes before so you can just look up and down the entire default rankings list so you can make a queue out of that, Ron. And the reason I keep saying this is because people still show up 2-3 minutes before the draft, and that's it. In fact, in one of my auctions, people were asking me where certain players were, and I go, did you search their name? No, I just got in. Well, that's no excuse right there. That's your own fault. I mean, you're organized, so you're a hard person to ask here.
You're getting those questions. This is your preschool league, right? People don't know how to search player names.
People freak out. They don't think. That's the problem. Because they show up 2 minutes before the draft. That's why.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are joined now by our guest host and Front Yard fam member, Joey Wright, for the rest of the show. Joey, thanks so much for coming on with us today, my friend.
You know, I was wondering what it was going to be like on the show this morning. And then the first thing I see in the chat is Meat Mansion saying oiled up and slippery. So I'm ready to go.
It's been an oiled up and slippery day, Joey. Hope you're ready to rock.
It's Tuesday. Where's your oil?
Gotta get oiled up, dude.
If you start your Tuesday without being slimy, then you're not starting your Tuesday right.
You got to get slimed up, slipped up, ready to talk a little ball with the boys.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Well, guys, Joey's here, and we're going to play some games today. First up, we got a game that we call Quotey Mick Quote Face. If you guys have not played this one with us before, this is a game where I'm going to propose a quote, an anonymous quote to our contestants. Their job is going to be to identify who said it and why they said it. If they get both of those things right, they'll get a point for each, but miss either one, and your opponent will have an opportunity to steal the point that your opponent did not get. Whoever has the most points at the end of this game will be our Quotey McQuote Face champion. You guys ready?
I've never been more ready for anything.
So ready.
Joey, have you played Quotey McQuote Face with us before? Or is this your
yeah.
first? You have played.
I've never won, but I've played.
Joey's a veteran.
Yeah.
Also, Tommy in the chat saying he may be right, I may be crazy, and Simon just may be the lunatic I am looking for.
Oh,
That's sweet. You're looking for me? I am lost. If you could please hurry.
Sounds like a song lyric, but I can't put my finger on it.
I was watching.
oh wait, he may be right. I may be crazy.
Okay, now I got it. Very good job, Joey.
Thank you, Joey. I was watching.
Got it.
1 point, Joey. Quotey McQuote Face. Who said it?
I think honestly, I should get a point for that.
Billy Joel. You get 1 point in the warm-up game, and the warm-up game is over. Joey wins.
Whoa! I didn't even get to go.
Hey, you both went. Whoever identified that quote first was the winner of the warm-up round. And now we're heading into our real game. I'm going to randomly decide who goes first. Joey. Wow, Joey.
Oh.
It landed on your name.
I even said stop and everything, and it was Joey when I said stop. So fair is fair.
Can I say why I knew that song
Go ahead.
quickly? Well, it actually took me a minute, but when I was courting my wife, I made her a mix CD of all songs that had right in it. That was a CD I made for her.
I like that.
And that was one of the songs.
Whenever someone says courting, I always picture them like prancing around in like one of those like just like George Washington, like my lady. Listen to these songs.
We only went to dates on basketball courts. That's why I say we were.
Oh, you're courting her, dude. Yeah, that makes sense, dude. It must have been a squeaky dating scene.
It still is.
Celebrity Tuesday off to a roaring start.
Those lyrics Tommy posted in, they reminded me of something I learned not too long ago. There was a guy on the show, Love is Blind. Have you guys seen that show?
My wife started watching that.
So there's a guy on that show, and they don't see each other. They're trying to find it, but at the end, you can propose. And before the proposal, when these people are meeting face to face for the first time, the guy says, "I wrote you a song." And he didn't write the song. It's just a real song that he sings to this girl. And one of two things happened. Either the editors did him dirty. Know what I mean? Like either he said like, this is a song that I'm covering and changed some of the words. I hope you like it. And they just edited out to, I wrote this song for you. Or he thinks his music taste is so refined and so underground that nobody would have ever heard of the song that he was listening to.
Yeah, that's one of the shows where it's like it falls into that category I've described before, that my wife watches it and I do not watch it. But out of the corner of my eye, I watch the whole thing and I'm just like, I can't believe she said no. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, I'm not watching this. I'm looking at my iPad.
Yeah. Now my workstation is right below where there's like a TV where my wife watches TV in bed. And I'm like, I know everything that's going on in Vanderpump Rules, but I do not watch Vanderpump Rules. I know everything going on, but I don't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely don't watch The Circle. Definitely not.
Mine is too hot to handle. Whenever that one's on, I am not interested at all. As I keep peeking over every.
I don't know that one. What's the deal?
That's the one where they tell them they're going on a normal dating show like Love Island or something, and they get there and they tell them if you touch each other, you lose portions of the prize money for the entire group. And so they put like 10 really hot, really vapid, really shallow people on an island and tell them not to do it, and it will hurt everybody if they do. And it's like different amounts of money that get subtracted from the pot based on different acts, and then they all split it at the end. And so they get the worst people you could imagine on that show, because that's what makes it better, is if they don't care about other people.
Yeah, so that's perfect, dude. That's
that one's brutal. That one's
It's
really
like-
good.
If you touch someone's abs, that's like $5 gone. Is that how it works?
Something like that. I forget what the exact rules are, but then they gather everyone around what's basically a glorified Alexa, and Alexa calls people out for what they did in front of the entire group.
That's phenomenal, dude. That's perfect.
Also, Hal in the chat said, is it always a zero pot by the end? It can sound pretty low. They blow through that money pretty
Cindy,
freaking quick.
you touched Maxim's penis. Is that what it's like?
Exactly like that.
Okay. I kind of want to watch the show.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the pictures of the cast members here, and it'd be pretty easy to drop a couple bucks, I would say.
Yeah, they purposely, the men and the women on that show are just like the
Right.
pinnacle of human attractiveness. They go out of their way to get that done.
100%.
Well, guys, it's time to get into some quote face. Joey won the intro round, but he's going first in the real round. We'll see if he keeps it up. You ready, Joey?
I'm ready.
I believe in you.
Okay, here is your first quote. I interviewed 8-9 times before I got my opportunity, and I know it's the same thing for him. Eventually, he's going to get that opportunity.
One more time.
I interviewed 8-9 times before I got my opportunity, and I know it's the same thing for him. Eventually, he's going to get that opportunity.
Man, I know it's probably a head coach talking about another head coach. So I'll say Brian Devil talking about, no, I'm gonna switch it up. I think it's Andy Reid talking about Eric Bieniemy.
See an enemy?
Joey, you are going to get 1 point for this, for getting the context correct. You did not get the person who said this correct, but this is somebody talking about Eric Bieniemy and not getting that opportunity. So that is going to be 1 point for you, Joey. But Coop, you have an opportunity to steal who said this.
What's interesting, because I was going to say, part of me wanted to say, it couldn't be Eric Bieniemy because he did get a job, but he didn't get a head coaching job. So I guess what I'll do is, since you said the head coach of his previous team, I will say the head coach of his new team. So I will say that this is, obviously Joey already got the context. I will say that the person who said it is Ron Rivera.
Coop, it's a tie game, 1-1. Ron Rivera did say this. Look at that teamwork knocking out the first quote in its entirety. This is Ron Rivera speaking on Eric Bieniemy and his
I don't know what side you're on.
inability to procure
there it is.
a head coaching job at this point in his career. We had a lot of guesses in the chat, a lot of Andy Reeds about Bieniemy. Hal said about Bieniemy. Tommy said Reed about Bieniemy, and JL said Andy Reid on Eric Bieniemy, and said, "Hey."
I always have a hard time saying his last name because I have a hard time saying banana, and they're kind of close.
Oh, it's like banana and anemone, two notoriously difficult to say words. A banana enemy.
If you just say that the Chiefs, they always be my enemy. So he'll always be my enemy, even though he's no longer on the Chiefs anymore. Eric Bieniemy.
Be my enemy. Okay.
Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy.
That is going to be 1-1 after that first quote. Tommy saying public Bieniemy number 1. Well, we got some quotes. That means Coop, it's your turn. You ready for your first quote?
Yeah.
1-1. Here is your quote. I'm really pumped about him. There's a lot of things in his game that kind of reminded me of a player that I'd worked with in the past when I left Houston. He was playing at a super high level. Matt Schaub. It's a situation that will be a competition, and I really believe in both players, and I think that benefits the team. Who said this, and what are they talking about?
When you said Matt Schaub, it just erased my mind. We're
like, yo, remember Matt Schaub?
I will say Matt Schaub, he wasn't as bad as people think. Like over the last 25 years, like he's arguably the second best third round pick quarterback. Not that means a whole lot after Russell Wilson, but he played for a while. You know, he had a little proclivity to throw an extra pick 6 or 2. But can I get that one more time? Because once you said Matt Schaub, I didn't hear the end of it at all.
Yeah, I got you. I'm really pumped about him. There's a lot of things in his game that kind of reminded me of a player that I'd worked with in the past that when I left Houston. He was playing at a super high level. Matt Schaub. It's a situation that will be a competition, and I really believe in both players, and I think that benefits the team.
Damn. So now it's a team with a quarterback situation to some degree. And I'm trying to think of like guys that worked with the Texans. I mean, it would be crazy if this was Bill O'Brien talking about Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, because I don't think there's any, they haven't really mentioned any competition there. That would be a huge quote if he did say suggest there was some sort of competition there. Let me say, is this so I guess there's a QB competition with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. Is this Kyle Shanahan talking about Brock Purdy?
Coop, that is incorrect, which means it's going to go to Joey. Joey, would you like to try to steal this one from your opponent?
I mean, I would like to take a stab at it.
Stab it.
I don't think Frank Reich ever worked with the Texans, but I'm still going to say him with Gardner Minshew, because Minshew was like a late round quarterback as well. Matt Schaub, I'll go with that.
Okay. Well, Joey, you would be incorrect, which means, Coop, we're going to come back to you since nobody's gotten any part of it. You can take one more shot if you would like.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know too many guys that have coached over with the Texans. So I guess I will just go ahead and say, is this Bill O'Brien talking about Mac Jones?
Well, Coop, good thing you went with that, because you eliminated another option for Joey when he takes his next guess, because that's wrong.
Darn it.
Joey, you want to take one more shot?
I'm blank.
Blank. Okay, a pass.
Yeah.
This is going to be a full pass on this one. We had some guesses in the chat. Tommy said, Hal guessed Baker and Trask in Tampa, that it was Todd Bowles. Ooh, it's another good guess, but incorrect. It is a Florida team, though. This is Mike McDaniels talking about Mike White joining the Dolphins and whether it will be a QB competition between Mike White and Skylar Thompson for the backup role.
Oh, wow. The old backup competition. They got us with the old whoopsie doodle there.
The QB2 comp. Yeah, that one was a little bit tricky. That one was a little bit tricky. You guys think Mike White's going to win that job?
I would bet. I would bet 2 years and $12 million that he wins that job.
Yeah. I wouldn't bet 2 years. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, 2 years of your life. Ooh.
Yeah, no way in hell am I betting 2 years.
I mean, it's going to take me longer than 2 years to come up with that 12 mil.
The worst part about betting time would be it could just insta-kill you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
don't
mean?
even know.
Like,
That's the
if
thing.
I would be dead within the next 2 years and I bet 2 years, I could just fall dead right here if I lost that bet.
Oh, you took that about as dark as you could take it, Simon.
Don't worry. About once a month, I lay in bed all night just freaking out about death.
Honestly, though, on the flip side, though, like let's say you had the opportunity to win 12 mil. I mean, hey, you're putting 2 years up. You might only have 5 months left. I'd kind of almost worth it to try and get that money, have a little fun.
Yeah.
You know? Just
Yeah.
saying.
Get some of that money. Also, JL said, that's true, Simon. Thanks, JL. And Hal thinks he starts 3+ games because of Tua's health concerns, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I've been doing a little bit of digging into that, kind of looking for as much info as you can get. It's obviously very difficult. Brain science is very difficult because things like CTE, for instance, can only be detected after the fact. There's no current way to test it in people that are alive for the most part. But I've been looking at it, and there's some disagreement to a certain degree on different topics. One thing virtually everyone seems to agree on is that if you get one concussion and your brain is not healed, so we're talking very short term, but not necessarily super short term, could be a week, could be months. If your brain hasn't healed, you're very susceptible to the next one. Where there's disagreement is whether once your brain has fully healed, whether you are still more susceptible to concussions moving forward. Now, obviously, certain people are going to be more susceptible if you're a 175-pound guy playing with 300-pound guys, you're probably more susceptible to concussions in general in that scenario. But for the most part, we've seen situations where guys like Devontae Adams had 3 concussions in 14 months. People forget that, there were beat writers writing that they shouldn't give him a second contract. And then it seems that his brain is healed. And since then he has had reportedly no concussions. Brandon Cooks, very similar. Everyone was saying he should be done. He had all these concussions. He hasn't had a concussion in like 4 or 5 years. So there's a possibility that Tua is just a guy that plays a certain way and he'll be prone to concussions. Or there's a possibility that since he hasn't played football, he won't play football for another 6 months. He's fully healed and he's not more susceptible to that injury. So as far as we know, there's no way to definitively say that he is now more susceptible to those injuries. What we do know is that if he has another one, it's going to be taken very, very seriously.
Yeah. I will say I had 5 concussions and I haven't wrestled in 12 years. So it did knock me. I'm just kidding. That has nothing to do with why I haven't wrestled. That's because I got fat and out of shape and couldn't fight anyone and didn't want to get hurt.
But how many concussions have you had since then?
0. I haven't had a single concussion since freshman year of college.
Perhaps it's the wrestling then. Yeah.
Maybe. Or the drinking and sleeping in a lofted bed did that one freshman year as well.
Yeah, big part of it, dude. You got to be careful with that.
You got to get those railings. They really should put a railing on.
How to get those railings. Railings on the bone.
Pro tip going to college. If you're a freshman and your bed is in the air, do not think you're too cool for a railing because you're going to be too drunk not to have one at some point that year. And you need that on there.
So, Tua, put some railings on your bunk beds.
Put some railings on your bunk beds. Well, guys, the score is 1-1. It is back to Joey's turn now. Joey, are you ready for your next quote?
Yep.
See if you can pull ahead. Here's your next quote. Well, he's definitely a strong candidate to be the heir apparent, but we have some other good people in our system. So right now we have a good head coach, and we're doing everything we can to support him and make sure we do everything we can to win. Who said this, and why did they say it?
So
why did you
wouldn't have to be enemy.
I always think it's Dan Campbell. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe.
Listen, read it one more time, but I think I'm going to go ahead. Read it one more time.
Well, he's definitely a strong candidate to be the heir apparent, but we have some other good people in our system. So right now we have a good head coach and we're doing everything we can to support him. And we make sure we do everything we can to win.
Heir apparent.
No, it's not that because I don't think the owner of the Commanders is doing many public speaking engagements this week.
I think so. No.
He seems like he might be all tied up with some stuff.
I think he's playing it low key, Joey. I think you're right.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Heir apparent. We have a good coach.
What are you thinking?
Helping Joey stall.
Yeah. I'm going to go with my first gut. Like, Bieniemy talking about, or not Bieniemy, but he's talking about Campbell talking about Bieniemy and Ron Rivera with the Commanders. I know it's probably wrong, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, well, Joey, I'm sorry, that is incorrect, which means Coop, we are coming to you.
So they did have the thing that's so hard about quoting the quote face this week is that they just had a gigantic summit with all the owners, coaches, and GMs. So everyone was available to say something, basically, right? Like, it's not like, oh, something happened where, like during the Super Bowl, it was so easy to be like, oh, Travis Kelce said this, right? Because it was 2 teams. Now it's like the entire world is our oyster. So
that's the first time I've heard the world is our oyster in a negative sense.
Yeah. These goddamn pearls, there's too many of them.
The ultimate pessimist.
Too many pearls of wisdom to choose from. So I'm just trying to think of like popular coaching candidates that don't have a job, don't have a coaching job. And I actually think that I'll go with this is my favorite team. So it's easy to lean into this type of situation, but Jerod Mayo has been a very popular coaching candidate. And I wonder if maybe this was Bob Kraft. Could be Jonathan Kraft. I'll say Bob Kraft talking about the possibility of Jerod Mayo taking over at some point if Bill Belichick retires.
Okay, Jerod Mayo taking over. Robert Kraft saying it. Jay agrees with you in the chat, said Robert Kraft on Jerod Mayo replacing BB. Nick
Jay said that?
Jay said that. Nick said Packers owner on Jordan Love. And then Hal said it was Jerry Jones about McCarthy and the OC. What's his name? Well,
Kellen Moore's gone.
Yeah, Kellen Moore's gone. I forget who the new OC is that they hired down there.
Trying to
Well,
think.
guys, Coop, you are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
It
All
is
right.
Bob Kraft talking about Jerod Mayo.
Nice, dude. Nice.
The best part about that one is to have to come back to me.
Yeah. Well, dude, like Joey, if it went back to you and then back to me, I probably would have passed because the reason I ended up there is my first thought was Josh McDaniel, but then I remember Josh McDaniel already is a head coach, so I was like,
Yeah.
well, maybe it was Mayo. But I think Mayo definitely deserves a job. He's been very selective, so it's interesting because like a lot of times they do these meetings, and after every meeting Jerod Mayo's done, there's been an announcement that's just like, we just decided it wasn't a good fit, which is kind of interesting. They don't always make those announcements, but I've seen it like 4 or 5 times for Mayo.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him eventually be the Patriots head coach. But if you can't wait. Sometimes you can't wait 5-10 years. So I also wouldn't blame him if he went somewhere else.
How old are you when Bill Belichick took over in New England?
So he took over in 99. People, dude, so many people forget. This is how long Belichick's been the head coach, is that another current head coach was the head coach of the Patriots at the time and that guy got fired and Belichick took over. Do you guys remember who it was?
Tony.
It's Tony.
No, I have no idea who it was.
So the coach of the Patriots, the coach that preceded Bill Belichick as the Patriots head coach was Pete Carroll.
Wow.
Now that you say that, I remember.
That's how long it's been. It went Bill Parcells and then Pete Carroll and then Bill Belichick. And Pete Carroll, basically Belichick took over right at the start of the 2000s. So I was like 10 or 11 years old when he became the coach. Yeah.
Ladarius in here knew that one. Said Pete Carroll. Knew that piece of trivia.
That is like Ladarius, a genius.
It's always a weird thing when players or coaches that you've had for such a long time move on. So for Coop, I imagine it's going to be really strange.
Dude, if you search Pete Carroll Patriots, some sick starter jackets come up. Pete Carroll was not a great coach for the Patriots, but he had some Patriots swag. Dude.
Speaking of swag, I meant to bring this up the other day. I just have to bring it up right now. The Kansas State lavender tracksuits that they were wearing on the sidelines during the game against Kentucky. Dear God Almighty, I've never wanted an article of clothing more than that entire head to toe Nike lavender athletic tracksuit. It was like pure sex on the sideline. I wanted that tracksuit so bad.
If you're the Wildcats,
I Googled so hard. They don't sell them.
If you're the Wildcats and you go up against another team called the Wildcats, you got to bring the heat. You got to bring the regal tracksuits out.
Mm-hmm.
God, they look so good. JL said Bill Belichick to the Ravens. Yeah, while we're trading coaches around, Pete Carroll to the Seahawks, Belichick to the Ravens, Harbaugh to the Patriots. I don't think you'd be too mad about that as far as a coach to follow.
I'd be fine with it. It's like the same friggin' dude. Like I feel like Harbaugh always gets left out in these like best coach conversations, but I have a hard time making a list of 5 that doesn't land on John Harbaugh.
Yeah,
personally,
he's probably in there.
He's in that group with me.
Well, guys, we're going to move on to our next quote. It is Joey's turn here. Joey, are you ready for quote number 2 coming your way?
Yep.
Here it is.
Wait, didn't I go first last time?
This is quote 3.
Okay.
Coop just went on a different one, right? Yeah.
Joey went first on that. Joey went first twice in a row.
Yeah.
Dude, shenanigans.
Okay.
Coop goes, so that's what I was like.
Boo. All right. Give me one.
And you want me to join a Dungeons and Dragons game with you? Is this how you run your shit? It's like all willy-nilly? No.
Just wait till you see how willy-nilly my Dungeons and Dragons campaign is going to be.
Is your Dungeon Master's name Willy-nilly?
No, but he has a Willy. He has got a Nilly Willy.
I've heard good things about that new Dungeons and Dragons movie, by the way.
Get me in on some Dungeons and Dragons.
I've heard it's like Monty Python's and the Holy Grail with just like really good special effects.
Okay. I have been preparing myself to be disappointed because
which
I'm going to go see. Anytime they make a Dungeons and Dragons movie, I'm going to go see it. Every previous iteration has been bottom 10 movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like not just bad, but like we were watching it and you're like, who the hell spent even $1 putting this together? So, but I'm going to go see the next one. Like I'm going to go watch it. So I'm happy to hear that it's getting some positive reviews.
when I heard the positive stuff, I was like, well, let me see who directed it. And once I saw who directed it, I was like, I'm gonna go see it. Did you guys see Game Night?
I did see Game Night.
No,
That was a really
Fantastic,
funny movie. Yeah, it
like
was really
adult
funny.
comedy. I'm
Oh,
like,
I did see
okay.
that. I did see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that was great. That's the problem you run into with stuff you're passionate about, is that it's so hard to just be in the middle on thing. Like if it's your thing and they're like, oh, they're coming out with a movie about your thing, it's so hard to just be like, thought it was okay. Like for the most part, you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it.
I've never really enjoyed the people that are like, oh, well, the book's better than the movie. Like reading's stupid. Stop.
Shut
Just go
up,
see
dude.
movies.
The Wright brothers unified on books.
I could tell you there are a bunch of books I know for a fact the movie is better. For a fact. I've read the book Congo. I read the book Congo, right? And the movie Congo is way better than the book. Honestly, I would go as far as say that I personally like the movie Jurassic Park better than the book Jurassic Park. The book Jurassic
I didn't
Park
even
is
know
good.
there was a Congo movie. I've only read the book.
Oh, the guy Michael
Michael
Crichton. Basically, everything Michael Crichton wrote is now some sort of movie or show.
Tim in the chat says, "Right bros fly. We don't read." Shout out Orville and something Wright. I forget the other guy's name.
Orville and Wilbur.
Orville and Wilbur Wright.
I watched the History Channel thing on that. I didn't read about it in school. Yeah. I watched it on
The
television.
only things I watch on the History Channel are like, this man's been trying to deliver logs for 17 years, but the snow's too thick. Like it's just like ice road loggers and deep sea crab fishing. I don't see the history stuff on History Channel anymore.
Have you guys ever Ice Road Truckers? What was it? Ice Road Crab Truckers?
There's Deadliest Catch.
It's actually crabs on these trucks.
It's Ice Road Trucker Crabs, actually.
American Crab Truck Pickers. Just combine them all into one show where they're just going around the barns like, you got any crabs? We got a dangerous drive ahead. Have you guys
They're throwing the crab tracks off the truck and catching white-tailed deer.
There's a guy in the back just like carving wood sculptures with a chainsaw, just like whatever they got going on, they mix it in one show. I'd watch that show. But before we move on,
Ice Road Crab Pickers.
Ice Road Crab. This is Ice Road Crab Pickers.
Sorry, I derailed this.
Yeah, but can we get back on the track of what I wanted to talk about, which is have you seen the license plate battle regarding the Wright brothers?
No.
So
First in Flight. I know it says First in Flight on the North Carolina license plate.
So the North Carolina says First in Flight, but that's where they built the plane and where they lived. But technically, the first
Kitty
flight
Hawk, not in North Carolina.
The first flight itself apparently took place in Ohio, actually they were born in Ohio, but then they flew in North Carolina. So okay. Ohio's license plates say the birthplace of aviation because that's where they were born.
Is that why they got them dumb planes in the Canton airport?
Also, though, I do want to shout out in Dayton, Ohio, or near Dayton, Ohio, I think there is the National Air Force Museum, and it is sick. It is so cool. They've just got airplane hangar after airplane hangar full of these massive jets that you can walk up, peek in. If you're driving through Ohio, stop there and then stop nowhere else until you get to Cleveland.
Until you get through. So let me ask you guys, I want your opinion on this. What's cooler? What would you rather have? Like would you rather be the state where you produced Wilbur and Orville Wright? They were born and raised and lived in your state. They took a little trip over to another state and flew a plane there, but that's where they were born. Or would you rather be the state where it happened, where the actual flight went down?
I want to be in the room where it happens. Like, you have no choice in where you're born. You have a choice in where you make your moment happen.
This is Ohio acting like Uncle Rico. Yeah, back in my day, I could throw this ball over the mountains. He's like, back in my day, Orville and Wilbur resided here in Ohio. Grow up. You got 6 astronauts. Hang your hat on those. Why doesn't your license plate say like F you, we have astronauts? That's what it should say on the Ohio.
We're really flying.
Ohio's like LeVar Ball, right? Or he's like, yeah, well, I made that. I made those guys.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Well, Coop, it is your turn now because we went to Joey twice in a row. Are you ready for the next round of Quoting McQuote Face?
I thought we were playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I know.
That's tomorrow. That's
Got
tomorrow.
my 12-sided die over here ready to go.
Let's do it, dude.
So many dice.
I want to. Can I play? Let me get in, dude.
I tried to buy a starter pack. My wife said no.
I have 3 in my closet. You can have one if you want it,
Yeah,
Joey.
let me know what me know what I need to buy. I love buying stuff.
Me too. It's my favorite thing. I love hobbies that require me to buy gear.
Let me know what I
things.
need, and I love research too, so I'll read all up on how to play, dude. I've listened to some podcasts where they play Dungeons and Dragons, and they're excellent. Like
Hal says he has his first edition DM guide. Keep that the hell away from me. First edition is a nightmare, man. Put that in a storage case and never open it again. In a frame. Frame it and put it on the wall because it's a sick thing to have. But please never play first edition ever again. It is pencil hell. The amount you have to write and calculate.
Oh, jeez.
It's a nightmare. Dustin says he wants in on D&D. We got a whole crowd here. And he said second edition is what he learned on. Second edition is definitely big improvements from first edition.
I learned from listening to the Adventure Zone.
Oh, the Adventure Zone's great. I haven't listened to that one in its entirety, but I do enjoy that
I've
one.
listened to a couple seasons of it. You got to tell me the ones that are cool. So I'll check those out.
My favorite is NADPod, not another Dungeons and Dragons podcast, but I've been watching Dimension 20 recently on Dropout. I'm on like my 6th season of the Dimension 20, and they got like 20 seasons on there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Coop, here's your next quote. You ready?
Yeah.
So I don't know what direction it's going to go. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell the future, but I know whatever happens, it's going to be good. It's going to be okay. And I have my hopes. And like I said, I love him. Who said this and what are they talking about?
So it's somebody who can't tell the future.
That narrows it down a little
narrows
bit.
it down.
So it's not Raven Simone.
This is Meg Ryan and Harry Met Sally too.
Yeah.
Joey, it's not your turn.
With giving everything that's going on right now, this feels like somebody talking about Lamar Jackson and the possibility he's leaving. Now the question is who? And there's a bunch of guys over there. I mean, it could be the GM, it could be Eric DaCosta. Why am I saying names to help Joey? I'll say that it's John Harbaugh talking about Lamar Jackson and how Lamar Jackson's his fate is currently up in the air.
Well, Joey, get ready. You're going to be getting a new quote. That is 100% right, Coop.
Yeah.
It is John Harbaugh talking about whether or not the relationship with Lamar Jackson has been irreparably damaged.
You did such a good job with that the delay of me realizing that I was right was like a full 3 seconds. Like you said that, I was like, yeah.
It could also be the time of day. I'm not going to take too much credit.
I didn't want to mispronounce the Packers GM, which would have been my backup guess, and then I realized, oh no, he hates Aaron Rodgers. Never mind.
Yeah.
What was his name again? We were just talking about him earlier.
Brian
Gutekunst.
See, I googled it and I closed it when I heard Coop won.
Gutekunst.
Brian, Google it, cursed.
Google curse.
Okay, well, Joey, we got time for one more. Coop,
okay.
Pretty demanding lead here, 5-1 after getting that one right. But this one's worth 10 points. I'm just kidding. This one's worth 2 points, but we can close the score a little bit. Here is your last quote. Good player. Good guy. Looking forward to having him. Think we're getting a good player. Joey, who said this and who are they talking about? I can read it
one more time.
Good player. Good guy. Looking forward to having him. Think we're getting a good player.
I think that's very Bill Belichick, the way you said it. Who did the Patriots? Who was the wide receiver they just brought in? Why am I blanking on the name? It's Tuesday morning. It's kind of my Monday morning. I just had a romantic weekend away with my wife where she was sick. No. She was sick the whole time. So we laid in bed and watched movies, which honestly
that's
is not
awesome, bro. That's the best, dude. It's still staycation.
Yeah, still a staycation. Why am I blanking on? Oh, they brought in Juju Smith-Schuster. So I'm gonna say Bill Belichick talking about Juju.
Joey, you close the gap a little bit. This is Bill Belichick talking about Juju Smith-Schuster, the man of few words. easily identifiable by Joey, right? Nice job, Joey. And shout out
Well,
to Darius and JL in the chat for getting that one too.
I feel like your delivery of the quote really, I was like, okay, well, it's Bill Belichick, just how you said it. And then it was just me remembering who they brought in.
Checks out. Well, guys.
Good memorying.
What'd you say?
Good job memorying.
The memorying threw me off for a moment.
Really, because it sounds like it could be a word, but it's not even close.
Exactly. It sounded enough like something else that I thought maybe you were just saying something else.
Nope.
Well, guys, coming up, we're going to talk a bit about the Bengals season and then play some vague descriptions and then teach you some things we've learned in a segment we call the Moreau. You know, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
As a longtime baseball fan, here's my message to other baseball fans, to steal a line from the Packers' future Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Everyone needs to relax after what we saw this past weekend as spring training games out in Arizona and down in Florida got going, and we're inching closer and closer to Major League Baseball opening day. The rule changes in Major League Baseball is not for myself. It's not for you out there, the hardened baseball fan, whether you're a fan 5, 10, 15, 30, or even 50 years from all around this great country. It's not for those that are going to be locked in. It's for trying to generate more fans. So if they want the pitcher to go out there and work in rhythm with a guy on base, begin the windup within 20 seconds, nobody on base, begin the windup within 15 seconds, or have the batter make sure that he's back in the batter's box within 8 seconds, then making the base pass first, second, and third bigger, eliminating the shift. All of this is to make the game better. We've seen leagues, whether it be the National Football League, do you think it's the same league as it is today in 2023, or what we saw in 2022 as it was 30 years ago? No, it's not. Is NBA basketball the same? No. How many games do you see being played? 83-79 finals. You don't see that at all. So every league adjusts to try and bring what? More fans into the sport. And that is something that Major League Baseball is going out there and trying to do. I've been critical at times of Rob Manfred, whether or not as a MLB commissioner, whether he likes the sport based on some of the rhetoric that he has spewed in years gone by. But I got to be honest with you, as a longtime baseball fan, I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. Watched a ton of Met games here in the tri-state area. Watched baseball all around. Can't wait for October baseball. Think it's absolutely unbelievable what is transpiring now and what's happening now, and the rule changes being brought about baseball. It's going to bring back to the game to when I became a fan, where the stolen base was something, moving guys over was something, having men on base, batting averages ascending, not being an all or nothing league where either you're striking out or hitting the ball over the fence. And that is what baseball is trying to do. So as everybody tries to adjust, and change is difficult, whether you're changing your diet, exercise routine, changing your relationships, changing a job, change is different. I get that. And it's hard. But let's take a step back. Let's understand what Major League Baseball is trying to do here. And they're trying to repopulate or repopularize the sport. That's what they're trying to do. They're clearly the third most popular sport in the United States. They want to make it less regionalized. This is the way they need to go about doing it. I'm all for it. For more content like this, download the Better Sports Network app or go to bettersports.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. And I am ever so glad that I just happened to stay quiet for a second there because we heard the cutest little meow. Did you hear that little meow? I think Kevin's saying hi.
Kevin's saying hi to everybody.
Kevin.
I'm never quiet when the music stops. I'm always jumping straight in yelling. And I just, you know what? Kevin must have spoken to me.
We were gone the weekend with my wife and I. My kids were with my mom. And so Kevin was like his first kind of like holding the fort down, and we had people come checking on him and whatnot. But he's been all up on our butts since yesterday, since we got home.
Man, that's got to be the one good thing about a cat instead of a dog. Whenever you leave, set them up with food and water in a litter box, and they're good to go if someone comes and checks on
Kevin.
them. Hey, Kevin. Look, Cat's on the show bright and early this morning. Well, guys, that is a perfect segue because we're going to be talking about what I assume is Kevin's favorite team based on his species and color, the Cincinnati Bengals.
He loves them.
He looks like the Bengals mascot a bit. The Bengals had quite a season last year, putting together another deep playoff run. This is a team that is trying to win a Super Bowl while they've got this core built with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They had Joe Mixon at running back, but that may be changing. Joey, whenever you look at this team, if there was one weakness, because I do think they were probably one of the best teams in the NFL last year, what do you think the weakness of this team was?
I think they addressed it when they're bringing in Orlando Brown. I mean, that's probably the biggest free agent signing of the season, not just for the Bengals, but it was an area that they were kind of a little deficient in, and they bring him in, and they're looking great. I mean, I thought the Bengals could have won the Super Bowl last year. I put money on them for next year's Super Bowl. Simon, you were there when I did it.
I was Vegas.
There. But yeah, I think addressing the offensive line is huge for them.
So it sounds like this is a team that you're excited about then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm interested.
Do you agree with the concerns?
I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the offensive line because the narrative has basically been that they drafted Jonah Williams, but he's in the first round. He's a first round pick to be their left tackle, but he's really struggled with injury the last couple of years, hasn't really lived up to expectations. Orlando Brown, based on what they paid him and and what he wanted to do, like he basically Orlando Brown was on the Ravens and wanted to play left tackle, but they had Ronnie Staley, so they traded him, and then the Chiefs, couldn't pay him, and a bunch of teams wanted to make him their right tackle, and he said, "I only want to play left tackle." So the Bengals paid him a bunch of money, and he's definitely going to play left tackle for him. The problem now is that they have Jonah Williams, who was a first-round pick of theirs, and they also have Lael Collins, who they went and got from the Cowboys. So they have two guys that want to play right tackle. One of those guys is probably going to have to slide in and play guard. They have Ted Karras at who they stole from my Patriots at center, and they also have Alex Kappa at guard. So I don't know. I haven't read much about it, but one of those guys is going to have to play guard unless they plan on making another move. It's a good problem to have, though. You can never have too many good tackles, and having to move one to guard. Oh no, end of the world, right?
No, it's a good problem to have. And this is an offensive line that was a concern going into last season, but did start looking better by the end of the year. They started gelling. I do think consistent playing with the same pairing is huge for an offensive line. So we may see some struggles early in the season as they're getting used to the new configuration, figuring out what that's going to look like. Coop, you bring up a great point. They're going to be putting someone in not their natural position. So it might take a couple iterations to figure out what this line is going to be. And we see teams do that through the first 5-6 weeks of a season, right? They test out different offensive line configurations if they don't have it set. And it can be rough during that time period, watching them figure it out. Because if the offensive line's not working, it's difficult to get anything else working in that offense.
And having the Bengals stumbled out the gate the last two seasons to really turn it on at the end.
They definitely did this year. Yeah, that is their MO. Yeah, people were. I know Tim was loving seeing the Bengals struggle at the beginning of this year. He thought they were a bit overrated, and at the beginning of the year, it looked like he was right. But they turned it on towards the end.
Yeah. It's almost like in the Super Bowl year, I did feel like they punched above their weight. So I was kind of in the same boat where when they struggled early on, I was like, yeah, I mean, there you go. But I think, like you said, down the stretch, they looked like they could beat any team in the league. And I think now that they're adding more pieces and filling those gaps, I think they actually truly can now. So on the offense, there's not a lot of holes, right? They just added Irv Smith, assuming they keep Joe Mixon. He could still be released. Lael Collins himself could be released. He's a potential cut candidate. If he doesn't want to play guard, I mean, they could easily just cut him. So, you look at Chase, Higgins, Boyd, doesn't get much better. Joe Mixon, say what you will about the contract, but he's still easily a top 15 running back in the league, probably top 10. They have Irv Smith Jr., which should be able to get the job done. They could draft a tight end there. No, not a lot of problems on offense. It's defense where I'm a little worried. Defense is where I have some concerns because they just lost both of their starting safeties. And these were the two guys that led the team in snaps, right? Like we talk about when from a coaching standpoint, you have all these different roles in your defense, and some guys rotate. Like it's not hard sometimes to replace a guy that, defensive end that only plays third downs, and he's playing like 30-40% of snaps. Von Bell was playing 98.8% of the snaps, and Jesse Bates was playing 98.2% of the snaps. So now you're taking the two guys that played the most snaps on your team, and they're gone, right?
See ya.
So, yeah. So they have Dax Hill, who they drafted last year. He's probably going to have to be a full-time player now. Goes from being a bigger guy that played kind of like a nickel type role, and cost me a lot of money because I bet that 5 cornerbacks would go in the first round, and at the very end of the draft, the Bengals could have drafted a nickel corner, and instead they drafted a safety that they played at nickel corner. Thanks, Bengals, dude. Cost me like $500. But anyway, and then they went and got Nick Scott.
That's the most like gambler sentence you said. It wasn't you making the decision. It cost you $500. It was the Bengals.
Bro, it is. I'm telling you, the narrative of how I lost that money. I did because I do. Simon, I write the entire offseason series. I look at every single team, and I'm like doing the math. I'm like, bro, this must be like 7 safeties drafted 7 corners drafted in the first round, right? I'm like, forget, the over under is 4.5. I'm like, forget that. It's gonna be at least 6, 7, dude. Everything that could possibly have had it go the other way went the other way. The Chiefs and Patriots needed a safety. The Patriots, they needed a corner. Patriots, instead of drafting a corner, traded their pick to the Chiefs, who took Trent McDuffie. So I'm like, oh man, that's not good. I needed the Chiefs to stay where they were, and both these teams to draft cornerbacks, right? So there's one where I'm smoked, right? The draft starts with back-to-back, the corners going back-to-back at 3 and 4. So I'm like, no way I lose.
You're
right?
feeling good.
I'm feeling good. So that happens. The Trent McDuffie trade. He's the third corner off the board. 2 picks later, Kyer Elam comes off the board. I'm like, there's 4. All I need is one more. Dude, the draft ends with the Bengals taking Daxton Hill, who is a hybrid corner safety, but he's labeled as a safety. And then the very next pick, the 32nd pick, the Vikings trade up. They need a corner. They take Lewis Sine, who is another kind of hybrid safety corner. So it ends with back-to-back safeties instead of cornerbacks. So just got completely railroaded. I had already bought an Xbox. Like I was all ready to go. And then obviously like the third pick of the second round is a cornerback. Like the guy that I thought was a lock to go in the first, Roger McCreary. So I'm just like, forget it, dude. But anyway, enough ranting about draft gambling. They need help, man. They brought in Nick Scott, who is a safety for the Rams that helped beat them in the Super Bowl. So that's got to be, hey, at least the guy can play. So, but I'll tell you right now, Dax Hill and Dax Hill needs to be awesome for this not to be a downgrade at the safety position this year.
And if it is a downgrade at the safety position, maybe that's better for fantasy.
It's
for us.
Awesome for fantasy, yeah.
So
That's great.
I'm sitting here just kind of hoping for Jamar Chase, T. Higgins that maybe they don't address that safety position. Maybe they keep it open. Joey,
yeah,
welcome back.
Let's keep that open.
You had to rescue your cat from the jaws of a lion.
Yeah. It ate him whole, and just the tail was hanging out. So I just kept pulling the tail, but then it was a different cat. So then I had to find his tail, and then I finally got him out.
I like the idea that it's like a magician pulling scarves out, and it's just more and more cats keep on coming out of this lion. Yeah, they got it. Well, if Joe Mixon does not get cut from this team, they're set at the running back position. Those rumors seem to have died down a little bit, but the Bengals still have to do something to address their cap situation, correct? Or am I misremembering that?
Honestly, 3 running backs is not enough. They probably do need to do something with the cap, but if they cut Lel Collins, then that helps. Or maybe Joe Mixon will. A lot of times, what happens with these guys is we say they're going to get cut, and then they turn around and do an extension that keeps them that locks them onto the team for another 2-3 years and helps with the cap. I could see that happening, but I've heard multiple executives and coaches say the same phrase, which is that you need 5 running backs to get through the season. This team has 3. So not like they don't have to all be stars. The 2 bottom guys can be guys that play, 5 special teams units, or they can be guys that return kicks, or they could be guys that are technically wide receivers, like Curtis Samuel. Having a Curtis Samuel on the team means you only need 4 running backs, right? Because he can line up in the backfield and do a little bit of, he got 40 carries for 200 yards with the Panthers a couple years ago. He had 40 carries with the with Washington. So like if you have a guy like that, it makes it a little easier, but you need 5 guys that can play running back to make it through the season. And they have 3 on the roster. So they're definitely going to add somebody else. There's no question. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind.
So we got some people showing up in the chat. Jordan over here. What's up, Jordan? Jordan Vanek, our friend.
Hey.
DFS guru. And he's going to be joining us in about 5 minutes here on the show. Hopefully, if everything works according to plan, to play some vague descriptions with us.
I would love to ask Jordan, because Jordan does a very good job. He's over at 33rd team. He does a very good job with the with defensive matchups. Like he's a big matchups guy. I'd love to hear what he thinks about this secondary. So
yeah,
have a take, Jordan.
We got Hal in the chat too, saying my kids named our new kittens Shimmer and Shine. They are littermate black cats near indistinguishable clones from one another. That's adorable.
Shimmer and Shine.
Shimmer and Shine, the little kittens run around the house. And then also said, oh boy, when I dream about spending my not yet winnings, it's bikes for my kids and the like.
All right. It's Saturday morning, boys. Close your eyes, put yourself in this situation. It's Saturday morning. Your significant other, you guys wake up, you make a little breakfast, and you say, hey, what do you want to do today? And she says, why don't we go out? Why don't we hop in the car and drive over to Shimmer and Shine? Where are you guys going?
A strip club / ice cream buffet.
The Shimmer and Shine.
Yeah.
You've been then, Simon?
Yeah, I've been.
That's what it's called in Orlando. It's downtown. It's nice.
What's your favorite flavor over at Shimmer and Shine?
Rocky Road.
Camel tracks. It's similar to Moose tracks.
Camel track. Oh no.
On that note, guys, coming up, Jordan Vanek is going to be joining us for a game of vague descriptions. And then we have a segment called the Moreau You Know, where we are teaching a little bit about something that we've learned recently. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Better Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
no way you know.
And Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question. I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay, keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. Yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had 2 people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Joining us right now for some vague descriptions is one of our great friends and DFS guru, Jordan Vanek. For those of you that do not know Jordan, go and follow him on Twitter right now at Jordan Vanek DFS. Jordan, thanks so much for joining us today, my friend.
How's it going, Simon?
It's going great. Better now. It's been a while since we streamed together.
Yeah, just had some issues with my normal setup, so I'm coming off of my laptop. Hopefully I don't sound too bad or double in the voice or anything like that.
Jordan, you sound great and you look handsome. How's that?
Thanks, Cooper. That's important.
You sound great, Jordan.
Very supportive here on the show.
Literally logged in a minute ago, so that's why I'm a little like, oh God.
You're good. How's this sound better than these guys? Yeah, checks out.
Wow. First of all, how dare you?
That's rude.
For those of you that do not know Jordan, you should probably get up to date if you like winning money playing DFS. But he's the head of DFS over with the 33rd Team FB, former DFS writer over at 4for4, and truly one of the smartest people I know whenever it comes to the DFS game. Jordan, before we get into our game of vague descriptions where we take you entirely out of your element of fantasy football, we were just talking about the Bengals, and Coop brought up something that you might have a little bit of expertise on. So we were talking about their secondary, specifically what they're going to do at the safety position with the departure of their two starting safeties in that offense. And you are a matchups guy, defensive matchups guy. It's where you find a lot of your edge in DFS. Have you been checking out this Bengals secondary situation?
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be a downgrade. They're going to be a worse defense because you don't just replace Jesse Bates. Von Bell did a lot of things that people didn't get to see from like a statistical point of view, like coming down in the box, disguising coverages. I mean, the defense is going to be worse. It's just how the nature of the business works when you lose a guy of that type of caliber. But this draft is loaded at the safety position, at the corner position. So there is a chance that they end up with one of these cornerbacks to actually solidify that part of the scheme, because last year, Mike Hilton, when he went down for a little bit, that was the big impact on their defense. He's one of the best players that doesn't get really appreciated. So is Trey Hendrickson. There's a few other guys on their team that will keep the scheme together. Luan Amaro always plays to his players' strengths, so they'll be fine on that end, but it won't be as dominant from the back end point of view as it has been, where you see these games against the Chiefs where they limit Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that's going to be the case next time.
Oh boy.
Very, very straight. The Steelers, they had Mike Hilton and they were like rotating in that slot with Cam Sutton. It's like they didn't know what they had, right?
Yeah. Now they lost them both.
Right. Now they lost them both. Yeah, they had to pick, and they might have picked wrong, but now they got neither. So
yeah,
interesting, man.
No, the Lions is one of the most underrated moves. The Lions are the team that I'm in love with from their GM. Like, what they did this past offseason has been unbelievable. There's a chance that they're a top 12 defense, which people don't necessarily realize.
Which is wild after last season.
Yeah.
After being the team that was the fantasy gold mine because of that offense plus I don't even know if I can call it that defense, that lack of a defense. Well, Jordan.
I mean, like Brad Holmes, dude, like the head scout of the Rams when they find Cooper Kupp. Now he's the GM of the Lions when they find Amon-Ra St. Brown. Talk about diamond in the rough, slot guys, right?
Yeah, and he got Jared Goff, and he brought him back to the Super Bowl type play that we saw from him when he was actually with the Rams. And then, I mean, their team is just loaded. And the top 6 pick, they made all the right moves, and it's actually paid off in such a big way.
God, it's so much fun to watch a rebuild come together. See it happen in real time. It's so much fun, man. Well, Jordan, today we brought you here to play a game that you've never played with us before. You've played a lot of our games, most of them, but this one is a Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show exclusive. It is called Vague Descriptions. It is one of my favorite games, and how this game works is I've got a series of vague descriptions describing a diaspora of things. It's got all sorts of things that it's describing. I'm going to give you a category, something like movie, football, TV show, thing, and a vague description, something that's going to very vaguely describe something in that category. You got to tell me what I'm describing. If you're able to tell me what I'm describing, you're going to get the point. Otherwise, your opponents will get the opportunity to steal. The steals will go in order. So, Jordan, your turn is first. Coop is going to go second. Joey's going to go third, and that is the order that you will steal in. So, Jordan, if you miss it, Coop gets the first opportunity to steal, Joey second, so on and so forth. Whoever has the most points at the end of this game will be our vague descriptions champion. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, you're up first. Your very first vague description coming your way. Here it is. This is one second. This is a movie. So your first vague description is going to be in the category of movie. 23 friends are worried about a new 24th friend.
Oh my god, these are so dumb.
Do you have a guess in the movie category here? If not, we can pass.
The trick is to mumble to yourself different thoughts to buy yourself time while you have the real thought. See, right now I'm doing a little bit of that on your behalf so that you can think. That's the real. There's no one better at it than Simon. I truly believe that Simon can disconnect his mouth from his brain and mumble your way while you're thinking of answers to these questions. Can you not though?
100%.
You're like the best. Literally the best.
Is it like a specific movie, or is it like, you know, in like, okay, man, that doesn't help. I'm just gonna go with the movie for some reason that came to my head. I don't even think there's 24 of them, but Avengers Endgame. That was the first movie.
Endgame is a great guess, but it's incorrect. Coop, do you got a guess for us?
What can I hear it one more time?
Of course you can hear it again. It is 23 friends are worried about a new 24th friend.
23 friends are worried about a new 24th friend. I'm trying to think of what things actually come in 24s. And I know Joey's a big movie guy, so if I don't get this, he might swoop on us. Is this Babe Pig in the City?
Coop. It's not Babe Pig in the City, which means Joey, it's coming to you.
All right. I normally love the movie questions, but this is like, so it's 23 friends are worried about a 24th friend.
About their new 24th friend.
New friend.
Movie guy, Joey.
I mean, for all those movies,
yeah,
you should get
like I know,
well, those
but
are books, Jordan.
Yeah, they're books. No, these are films. I'm sorry, I don't watch movies.
This is cinema.
I'm wondering if there's like a little multiverse action going on here that's making us wonder. Like, okay, I don't know. I'm gonna go to Minions: The Rise of Groot.
I love that guess, but it is incorrect. We're gonna pass on this one. The correct answer is Split. Split.
Oh, okay. Answer. Wow, that's a tough. They always make
really
sense when I hear them.
That's well worded.
That
was a good movie. I like that movie.
I've never seen that movie and did not write that prompt. That one comes to us from one Mr. Keith. But Keith, that's the best kind of prompt. The kind where whenever it's revealed, everyone goes, "Oh, not you, effer."
That was a double M. Night Shyamalan. Well, because he tricked us, and it was also an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
The best kind of prompt is when you can get someone to be so confident in an answer and then be wrong.
It's most, yeah.
No.
I would never confidently shout DK Metcalf out loud on a stream whenever the answer is Tyler Lockett.
Oh no. I would never confidently shout squirrel on this show and have that not be right answer.
The level of
confidence. Like I get every answer right. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Ricky so business. Joey's had a good one recently as well. We've all had our fair share recently.
Yeah.
Well,
unfortunately, describe it as good.
I thought it was good.
Dustin in here said it's risky business, like Coop with Squirrel. So just Dustin keeps track of all of our failures.
Dustin's playing all the hits right now, dude. So many people texted me or messaged me Squirrel. Like Ani Coop just said Squirrel. That's it.
Well, Coop, it is going to be your turn now. Are you ready for your next vague description?
Yeah, let me put my shades on while Vanek lets a bunch of sun in.
Hey, it was bothering me.
You're good. It's good now.
Usually this part of my stream is not showing.
I know. You're good, brother. All right, what do we got?
Okay. This is a movie. Another movie in this category. Lazy person gets mad when you bother them.
Lazy person gets mad when you bother them. So a couple characters come to mind right away. My first thought was Snorlax, but there's no Snorlax specific movie, I don't think.
You haven't seen Snorlax 3000?
Snorlax 3000.
Great love story.
It's just a
until he squishes her.
Just getting pissed off by the polka flute. Show me polka flute. No, I'm gonna go with a movie I actually recently watched. I watched it because I went to Iceland and there was a bar that was like themed after this movie. And it seems like the entire movie kind of is just this one guy being annoyed by everyone, and he's definitely a lazy dude. He wears a bathrobe for the vast majority of the movie. Is this The Big Lebowski?
The Big Lebowski is incorrect, which means
that was my guess.
Okay.
The lazy person gets mad when you bother him.
There you go, Vanek. There's one of those where I was so confident that was the answer. I was so confident.
Coop, that was my answer.
He doesn't quite get mad though. It's more just kind of like annoyed.
Lazy. Okay, what are other words for lazy?
Hal's asking lazy or crazy. Lazy. L-A-Z-Y.
Lazy person gets
lazy.
Jordan,
lazy.
You got an idea if Joey misses this? You got something ready?
I mean, I'm thinking it's like
lazy.
There's one phrase that came to mind when you said it, but I don't know why. And I can't think if there's a movie about it. There should be. I think there is, but I don't know the name.
So I think ogres are kind of lazy, right? Ogres are lazy. Don't really do a whole lot. I just want to take mud baths. I'm gonna say Shrek.
Show me Shrek. I'm sorry. If I jail soundboard, I would have.
That's another good one.
Simon did that was to say that. That's why incorrect noise is the only reason.
You gotta drop the incorrect noise on him hard.
Jordan, what do you think here? You got a shot.
Like my first thing was like, don't poke the sleeping bear for some reason, but like there's no. I'm trying to think of a movie that has a bear that's sleeping that's just getting annoyed by a bunch of people. It's not coming to mind. No. Shrek was actually the other thought that I had. So Joey had to steal mine since we're just stealing each other's movies. Man,
lazy person.
Lazy
this
people.
Is really vague.
Yeah, one more time. Lazy person gets mad when you bother them.
What's the movie with Scrooge? I think his name is. Like the first. I don't know if he's necessary. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with
the movie with Scrooge is incorrect. The answer to this one was The Exorcist. The Exorcist is the answer to this.
I don't even know if that one makes sense.
Come on, I need this explained to me. Like a lazy person.
The demon inside doesn't want to do much. Whenever you're trying to get them to come out to go outside,
I guess that's true.
They're pretty pissed that you're bothering them.
I guess that is true, but that is such a stretch, dude. That one never.
The power of Christ compels me to go to the next question.
Keith said she's in bed the whole time.
Oh, Keith, are you unbelievable, dude? I know Keith is sitting there just chuckling to himself too. I know you are, dude. You are just the worst. Dude.
You're the guest. What's your call on this one? Is it fair or not fair?
This is a little stretch. I'm gonna be honest.
Yes,
there's like the phrasing of. I don't know. Like, I feel like you should have phrased, like, you go with lazy. Like, the lazy part I could agree with. But, like, annoyed, I don't know if annoyed is necessarily the term that I would use with that.
I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. I have to look back on my life and remember this 3 minutes that I just wasted on an impossible task. What?
I want to throw myself down some stairs after this question.
Unbelievable, Keith. Unbelievable.
That's how Joey's going to feel when he's watching Baker and Kyle Trask go out there. It's going to be a few hours of waste.
You mean Lamar Jackson? It's not over
yet. Wishful thinking.
I know. Very wishful thinking.
Lamar is in such a weird spot. Ian Rappaport was hilarious on the McAfee show yesterday. He was just like, well, he's been available for everybody this whole time. I don't know what changed.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He's like, I guess the difference is like he's just not going to the Ravens, so now teams don't have to waste time with the whole matching thing.
Where's the offer sheet?
The chat is fully agreeing with you guys on that being a stretch, though. Hal said WTF stretch. Tim said stretch.
Good.
And Tommy said that was more of a stretch than Rodgers ending up on the Jets. And Keith said these are tough to write.
I think that's fair, Keith. I think that's fair.
If you would have said a lazy person that gets angry when you make them come outside, it would make a little bit more sense because you'd be coming out of the body. But like once again, stretch. That's okay. So we appreciate all the work you do.
Yeah, Jordan, I know that exact cup that you got that cup at a ball game, did you not? What do we got?
It's South Alabama from the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, nice.
Which I actually have the Senior Bowl hat on.
Hey,
that
there you
was
go, dude.
such a cool experience.
Yeah.
Was it?
I've never.
What was your
on the
favorite
ground
part?
out there?
Well, I got to Mike Tannenbaum was able to get me like on-field access. So I was able to like the coaches, the scouts, anybody who was on the field was just like right there. So like I was talking to Don Martindale, just like casually, just standing next to him talking, and he is hilarious. And I also got to watch the Giants GM basically play that game of like when you were a kid, like if you have a water bottle that's empty and you just go and like hand it to your friend, and then once you hand it to him, you just run away and like you got to throw it out. That's what he did with a scout. The GM of the Giants is playing like that type of game at the Senior Bowl on the side. I'm like, wow, these guys.
Here, hold this for a second. The
That's
classic,
awesome, bro.
the classic, just throw something in front and people grab it.
So you actually talked to him?
Yeah, I talked to Martindale.
Did you call him Wink?
No.
Oh,
I called him Mr. Martindale. Are you
that's
kidding
probably
me?
smart. Yeah, but still, dude, if you were just if you threw a wink out there, dude, I'd throw one out there. I'd say that as I walked away, I'd be like, "Thanks, Wink."
Tomlin was down there, and so was Brian Flores was down there.
Oh,
I met a lot of the Ravens people, like their quarterbacks coach, O-line coach.
Did you talk to Tomlin?
Not for he was more with the players than anything else, but
He's too intimidating, dude.
It was.
This is Mike Tomlin.
Dude, he was so nice. Like Flores was super nice too. Like the whole, I mean, anybody that was down there was pretty cool. I got to meet Ian Rappaport because of Ari.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
Ari
cool.
was down there just talking with him, and they were guessing Geno Smith's contract. Geno ended up going.
What a cool thing to listen in on. Ari and Ian just talking about Geno Smith's contract predictions. There's probably not too many better people than those two to be making those kind of guesses.
Yeah, it was just a cool. I mean, you got to meet a lot of people, network a lot of people. I mean, the players are super cool too. Interviewed a few of them. Didn't interview the whole time. I wanted to just actually like talk with them. I know Kenny McIntosh is actually from down here, so I know people who know him. So like I mentioned that to him, and he got he was just so happy to like, oh wait, you're from South Florida? Oh, that's cool. And then just immediately wanted to like talk, and I was like, okay.
That's pretty sick. Those personal interactions with these guys that we watch every day is pretty awesome. Yeah. NKC in here just waking up and saying good morning. Says hi and good morning everyone. Good morning, Joey.
From NKC sleeping in, dude. What's the deal?
Yeah. Day off work. Get that
Just
rest.
messing with you,
NKC's
What's up,
usually up
brother?
at like 4 a.m. every day. Well, Joey, it is your
NKC's man.
turn, which means we are done with the movie. I'm just kidding. We got one more movie one for you. I did think it would be funny if we did 2 movie ones and then switch to.
It's all right.
Always got to win his crown back as the movie guy, dude. That risky business stuff was a big setback for you. I bet you're still reeling from it, dude. You're still reeling.
I am. My wife, she was like, honey, when you were sleeping through the weekends, usually when we go to bed, after 3 hours, our kids hop in bed with us. When you have little kids, it happens. So this weekend, with the weekend away, my wife and I, we get to like sleep in the bed, and she's like, you just kept saying like risky business over and over in your sleep.
Just tossing and turning.
Jordan threw in all the right moves in me earlier. I thought he was making fun of me, but then I realized that it wasn't. That's another Tom Cruise movie.
You're in your head, dude. You're in your head.
I'm rattled. Let's go, Simon.
This is the one. You're gonna knock this one out of the park.
I'm hurt by the jersey behind you. Just by the way, just want the DJ Moore. And
no
you're
longer
just
on the Panthers.
Trade guy, huh? This is what happens. You get jerseys for these wide receivers, and then they get traded. That's just how it works.
Yep. Yeah. None of my jerseys make sense anymore. At least Amari Cooper's number's still the same.
The most, that was the other underrated curveball that was thrown in the jersey world when they were like, oh, by the way, you can wear whatever number you want, and everyone was like, I want to be 2.
Did DJ Moore decide on his number with the Bears yet?
I don't know what number he's. Is he going to be 2 with the Bears as well?
I think he'll try. I don't know if that's taken or not.
He'll fight him for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Play right now whether it's taken. I got access to the internet, so I can just tell you.
So Keith in here said, "You guys convinced me. I hate that guy, Keith. Too. We don't hate Keith. We love.
We love him.
On the website,
really hard vague description prompt.
On the website, number 2 is listed as DJ Moore. So it looks like he got it.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense.
Number one, Justin Fields. Number 2, DJ Moore.
There we go. Well, guys, let's move on to our next prompt. Joey, this one's for you. It is a movie. Are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your movie vague description is person comes to America and struggles to fit in.
I got one.
I got 100.
You said person.
Person comes to America and struggles to fit in.
So it is a person.
Person.
Okay. So I was going to say King Kong, but it's a person. So it's not King Kong because he comes to America and he struggles to fit in. So that would be good, though, if it was King Kong. Yeah. But coming to America, Eddie Murphy comes to America, doesn't fit in. But I don't think he'd put the name of the movie in there. So I need to go completely off base.
I wouldn't put anything past Keith here.
Can you read it one more time for me, Simon?
Yes, I can. It is person comes to America and struggles to fit in.
I'm going to go with Pocahontas. John Smith comes and he struggles a little bit. Pocahontas' dad's like, nah, you're not marrying him. So I'm going to go Pocahontas.
Pocahontas is incorrect. I'm sorry, Joey, but that is a great guess, which means, Jordan, we're coming to you. Do you have a guess on this one?
Borat.
Very nice. That is correct, Jordan. 1 point for you, and you take the lead earlier in this game. Borat did indeed struggle quite heavily.
I had a very different guess, dude.
What was yours?
I was gonna guess George in the Jungle.
You guys went PG. I just went straight. That was the first thing I thought of.
Isn't that, or actually like Crocodile Dundee? Also, probably would have worked there.
Jordan, have you watched Borat recently? Have you done a rewatch of that movie?
I saw it on like one of the recommended movies. I guess I chose what I watched, but Borat came up, and that's why it just came right to my head. I haven't seen it in forever.
Some movies don't hold up, and then some movies are Borat. Borat is just as funny, if not funnier, when you put it on now than it was whenever they first released it. Like, you go back and watch some funny movies and you're like, that's not funny. But Borat, it stands the test of time. Just wild what that man made in 2010 when that came out. Like, absolutely absurd.
What a smart film.
It truly is, though. It truly is smart. Like, we say that jokingly because it seems so stupid, but that Sacha Baron Cohen is a genius.
He is genius.
That was one of the more fun midnight screenings I've ever attended. So we were like big Borat fans from like the Ali G show. And so we're like, all right, let's buy tickets to this. But there was like this wave of Borat that hit the week before. The marketing team behind Borat, fantastic. They had Sacha Baron Cohen everywhere that week. And I remember we bought tickets to midnight screening and we asked, like, oh, is there, because we'd always buy them early because we're nerds. Like, is there any, is it sold out? And they're like, oh no, there's barely anybody there. We walked in, I think that place was packed within just a week. Nice. Just crazy.
Joey, I think
what an experience that must have been. Sorry.
I was gonna say, Joey, I think this one you can blame your kids because you went very PG. It felt like you went like King Kong, which I guess is a little PG to 13, and then you went to Pocahontas. Like your mindset was very kid movie.
Yeah, I mean it's a vague description. There's a lot of movies that have kind of that subplot, so you know.
Yeah, you may even call it a movie trope.
I wasn't struggling to find a movie that fits that description, so this was a good vague description.
There we go. Also, NKC said has to get out of here. They're heading somewhere soon, but wanted to stop by and say hi. Well, thanks for stopping by and saying hi.
Thanks for stopping by, dude.
Be safe wherever you're going, NKC. JL's agreeing with me. Stay safe. Well, Jordan, you're going to get 1 point for that, and that's leading into your turn, which means you have an opportunity to extend the lead right here.
Swing.
Great
success.
You ready? Nice. Absolutely great success.
My laugh.
My old hairdresser in Atlanta used to cut it regularly, but cut Sacha Baron Cohen's hair one time. He said he was just there in Atlanta, normal day of work, and in walks Sacha Baron Cohen. Just walked in, was looking for a haircut, was in Atlanta filming something, and said, "Do you take walk-ins?" And he canceled his next appointment because he was like, "I am not cutting this man's hair." Like,
you guys know who Sacha Baron Cohen's married to?
No.
Isla Fisher. She was like the crazy sister in Wedding Crashers. She's been in a bunch of other movies. Yeah,
dinner must be so funny with those two, dude.
Oh man.
You said dinner must be so funny. Well, Jordan, here's your next vague description. This one is a TV show. This one is going to be a TV show. Oh, wait. Oops. No, it's not. This one is going to be This one's going to be the category sport. So the category is sport, and the prompt is like a kick in the groin.
Like a kick in the groin.
It's a
That is
sport
the
is
vague
the category.
description. Sport is the category. The vague description is like a kick in the groin.
I mean, the only thing that's coming to mind is soccer. But like, oh, that's so annoying. there's something out there that I'm just missing here.
What do you think?
I can't get by my immediate thought either, and I don't think it's right.
I'm going with soccer. I can't. I don't have anything else that I could truly think of right now.
The defeat in Jordan's voice when he says soccer, but it may be right, but it's not. Soccer is incorrect, which means we're moving on to Coop. Coop, you got a guess?
So it's a sport, and the whole thing, the whole description is like a kick in the groin.
Yes.
So I do know of, so like there's like karate and jujitsu. There is one version of that is known for groin strikes and like eye
Nutjitsu?
strikes. Nutjitsu, yeah. Is it nutjitsu?
Yeah,
No,
it's nutjitsu.
It's called Krav Maga.
I thought it was Taekwondo.
It's bad. It's bad. That's what you walk up to somebody and ask them what the capital of Thailand is.
That's my mom's favorite joke.
Yeah. No, Krav Maga is and the Israeli military forces study it. So that's what I'm picking.
Krav Maga is incorrect, which means Joey, we are on to you. You got a guess for us?
So I do. I'm gonna go completely off the books. You know, we got to get a little crazy here. So it's like a kick in the groin, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're kicking someone in the groin, you go right down the middle, right? Yep. So I'm gonna say bowling because when you bowl, you want to go down the middle.
All right.
That is creative, out of the box thinking, the kind of thing that helps you win vague descriptions, but not on this one. That is incorrect, Joey. You know what? You guys had reasoning on this one. You guys want to take another shot if we go back through on this one? Jordan, we'll give you another shot if you want to guess another sport here.
All right, I'll go kickboxing.
Kickboxing is incorrect. I'm sorry. Coop, you got a guess?
Yeah. Is this hacky sack?
It is not hacky sack.
Oh,
Joey.
that's good.
Kicking, I thought maybe kicking the bag. I don't know if that's a sport.
It should be.
The hacky sack athletes at my college were.
Joey, you got a guess for us?
I don't. I mean, just
okay.
Curling.
Well, someone in the chat got this right. NKC in the chat is the only person who got this right. It is football. Football. Like a kick to the groin. Football.
Come on now. Well, how do we not get that, dude? What a Krav Maga. Whatever it is. Football.
Coop gets
I should have said football and just
Jordan,
continued.
I was sitting there thinking, I almost was tempted to give you credit for soccer, but you needed the word foot in there.
No, I should have said it. I should have said the real version of soccer. That's what I
said. You know, you should have just said football because that's well, actually, you would have got it right. But I mean, it covers both.
That's what
it covers both categories.
Oh man, that's a double sport. This is not.
Also, Nick in here. Nick guessed jockey and then said, riding that horse, your nuts got to be under pressure. Absolutely.
I
was watching
all good guesses.
I forget what Barstool show it was on, and I forget who said it. So I'm just know somewhere on one of the Barstool podcasts this was said, but they asked somebody if they could be like the best at any sport, what it would be. And his answer was horse racing as the horse. And the reasoning was because it's the best life in the world because you race 3 times. You're going to win all of them because you're the best has ever been. And then you just get paid to have sex for the rest of your life as they just try to breed other horses. And so that's his decision.
Dude, that is, honestly, if you really do the math, right? Like what's retirement age? 55, 60?
And
like, when you're 3? When you're a horse, you're 3. Yeah, you run the Kentucky Derby at 3 and then you're good, bro. And then you live what?
Like 20, right?
Nah, they live like 25, 30 years, horses.
Jordan, you want to be a horse?
I'll pass.
Yeah, good. I'm with you.
If I had to be an animal, the dog is the way to go. Like a good dog, you know?
During the break, I just walked into my bedroom, and my dog is on the bed, lying like this with her head looking out the window at squirrels and stuff, upside down. Like that's living the dream, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you came in and you thought, let me get her a treat because that is adorable.
You're an angel. She got a pet and a treat. She did nothing to earn it, right? And then right when I get off the show, we're gonna go for a walk like we typically do. It's like, okay, that's I think you're right on this one. Dog is the way to go.
Honestly, that sounds a little bit like my life. Like when my girlfriend comes home, I'm laying on the bed upside down watching cartoons, and then she just gives me a soda that she picked up for me or the leftover lunch she had from work takeout. Munch on that. Am I my girlfriend's dog?
I think you might be, dude.
Oh shoot. Well, Jordan, you are going to be victorious in this game. Getting that one. Congratulations, my friend, pulling out that victory. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us on this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. It's nice to see you guys. Hopefully I end up in Cannes and see all three of you there.
I would love that. And everybody watching, if you have not already followed Jordan legitimately, go and fix that right now. You can find him on Twitter at Jordan Vanek DFS, and you can check out his work over at the33rdteam.com. You're going to want to do that if you like winning money and you like winning fantasy. Jordan, thanks so much again, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Good guy. Great guy.
Yeah, great guy, dude.
Well, guys,
he's one of those dudes, like my dog. He's one of those dudes that, like, anytime I see him, like I'm at the expo and then I see him come walking up, like I immediately smile because he's smiling.
His dad is the man.
I was just about to say his dad's incredible too.
Jordan's dad is badass. He shows up at the expo as well, and that's a cool dude. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, apparently.
I got to tour the Hall of Fame with Jordan and his dad. The first time I've ever been to the Hall of Fame. And it was like 3 hours of three of us. It was a blast.
Probably the amount of knowledge and the two people walking around with you was pretty massive. Well, guys, coming up, we are going to teach you a little bit of something in a segment we call the Moreau You Know. But right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that, because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We had these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was how dare you? He smacked the globe. He was like,
what do you all the hard work we've done.
2023 geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare you?
I'm just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is Algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad. Ray, I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
It's a great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%. That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the clear pass.
Yeah,
the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game. And NKC is back. They went away and they told it got canceled. So welcome back to the show, NKC. Glad to have you. We're about to get into a segment we call The Moreau You Know. Before we do that, though, Hal had a suggestion for the animal you could be. He said, be a cat. They live 20 years and no one F's with house cats. And then came in and said, what happened to the censoring? It does not censor. So, guys, if you want to be able to say the F word in the chat without it censored, update your app right now, and you too can say the F word like Hal without the little asterisk showing up. And after you do that, tune in tonight for the Better Cast if you haven't done so already. It's a ton of fun. And when you miss that question, your uncensored messages can head up right in there. But tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, it is the NBA on Better Cast. Heat and Raptors are playing, and we've got live Q&A contests on the BSN app. We're giving away a $100 gift card to the bettersports.com collectible shop. Hal has won a couple times. We're getting him those prizes ASAP. So see if you can take him down, or Hal, see if you can get in there and win yet again. Our Bettercast MVP so far.
Damn, what a beast.
Absolute beast. I think he's won twice. I think he's taken 2 home so far.
Guys, they're just all they're doing is putting curse words in the chat now to see if they'll work. This is ridiculous. I need to calm down.
Hal said the power is mine. All right. Well, guys, it's time for Moreau. You know, who wants to go first? I can't unless somebody else wants to jump in there.
You guy, you want in?
I'll jump in.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Good.
Joey, share yours with us.
Yeah, I you know, I like the movies. I like films, and I watched everything overall once with my wife this weekend. Had a good time.
So
and I was telling her just about the story of Ke Quan and how he left acting. So Ke Quan, he was short round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That's the first time I saw him. And then a couple years later, he was in Goonies. Great child actor. But then sadly, there wasn't a whole lot of roles left for Asian Americans in cinema. And he got frustrated with the whole process. I think one of his last movies was Encino Man with fun fact, Brendan Fraser. So he retired for acting, went, created a family. He did some stunt work for a while. And then he started getting the bug again. He started wanting to get back into acting. And he decided, okay, I'm going to do this. He got an agent, hired an agent. The first script he was handed was Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And then he won the Academy Award. But what's funny about that is when the Daniels were writing the script for the movie, they wrote his character with him in mind, not knowing that he had retired from acting and wanted to get back into it. So it's just kind of one of those like universe connecting up moments. Yeah. And then he goes on to win his first Academy Award, a first Asian American or Asian actor period to win a Best Supporting Actor trophy. That was great to see with his buddy Brendan Fraser, who they were in Encino Man together, and he won Academy Award. So lots of fun little movie connections this year. But it was one that was just really sweet. I want to say as a kid, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom was probably the Indiana Jones movie I watched the most because it was on HBO all the time. So I always had this like little connection to Short Round, and to see him pop back up, 30 years later, it was really cool. And
dude,
so it's kind of neat. Never give up on your dreams.
I've seen so many pictures now of Brendan Fraser hugging him. And I didn't know. I was like, oh, they just won, right? So like, whatever, dude. I didn't know they were in Encino Man together. That makes it so much cooler. And these guys like knew each other
before. So like the last 2 movies that he's done have both been with Brendan Fraser, just that far apart. How many years apart is that? 20?
Oh, I mean, Encino Man came out in what? Oh, this is a fun game. I love this game. I can nail movies within like a 2 or 3 year span. It's like 92. I would say Encino Man was. Check it out.
So
it came out in 97.
No, it did not.
You were wrong.
1992 is the year. 1992.
I just messing with you. I know you're on tilt. I know you're on tilt, Joey. So I just wanted to mess with you.
Yeah.
92. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Whoa. Time out. Sean Astin was in that movie too, and Pauly Shore. Dude, what a lit cast, dude. Shout out Sean
Pauly
Astin.
Shore and Sean Astin. Your Academy Awards are coming to you soon.
Rudy, dude. Rudy.
They're
was
gonna
in
get
that.
back together. They're gonna get back together in a new indie movie next year to win Pauly Shore. Hal loves that was a Joey Fire story. The speech that he gave whenever he won, though, I legitimately sat on the toilet and bawled while I watched it back on my phone. Tears rolling down my face. It was so genuine. And Joey, I think like what you highlighted is why that speech was so impactful. That man's still shocked. He cannot believe what has happened because he legitimately stepped away from movies for 30 years, comes back and wins an Academy Award on his first one back. Like just the absurdity and the gratefulness that he had in that speech and the level of like, what the hell? I can't believe this is happening was really cool.
He was my favorite part of Oscars night. I mean, just the next day looking at all the pictures on Instagram of him and meeting all these people. But for me, the best moment, his speech was incredible and definitely a tearjerker. When it won Best Picture, he ran up on stage and Best Picture was presented by Harrison Ford. To see them hug, like it was just like everything for me. It was just like, oh my God. And I think it's great that Ke Huy Quan has an Academy Award and Harrison Ford does not. Just to show you that awards don't really matter.
I mean, if they were going to take it seriously, then Brendan Fraser would have already won an Academy Award for his amazing job in The Mummy.
The Mummy's great.
So good.
The Mummy ride at Universal is one of the greatest roller coasters in the world. And it's not one of the scariest, but it is just phenomenal. And pro tip, if you run straight back there, instead of going to Harry Potter World when the park opens, you can ride it like 5 times in a row without getting off because everyone goes straight to freaking Harry Potter World.
There's a rumor that they're pulling it out, Simon.
Pulling Harry Potter World out?
No, they're pulling the Mummy ride out because they're making a Universal Monsters area at the new Epic Universe. And
you better get over there, Simon.
We don't know what's going to happen to it.
You better get over there. And
I got to get down.
Refurbishments for a while. They've opened it. They close it. It's some stuff's going on with it.
First, my favorite Disney ride got taken from me. The Snow White Haunted Woods. That one, terrifying. Like actually scary. And now they're going to get rid of the Mummy at Universal. Oh, it's a rough day.
It's not good. Disney does that. They have taken out my favorite ride from almost every park. Hollywood Studios, the Great American Movie Ride, gone.
Gone.
Epcot, Malmstrom, gone.
See ya.
Cowards.
Tim said, heard they're making the Mommy ride to replace it.
Excellent, dude. So I have one that goes that there's a little bit of a cinema lead-in honor of Joey, the FYF film master, who has redeemed himself today. I would say. I think you've solidified your role as the film premier film critic. I watched a movie that you recommended to me, The Northman.
Okay.
Roger Eggers. It was pretty intense, I would say, and at times fairly graphic. But I thought it was a good film.
Wait, which movie?
It is very graphic.
The Northman, which I can see why critics liked it and why the average fan, some of them might have said, that's pretty gross. And also, this is very loud. But I enjoyed the film. At one part in the film, there's a quote at the beginning where one of the guys says, "Wise in measure should each man be, yet wise enough to be the fool." I don't want to give any spoilers, but the main character kind of pretends he's not who he is and kind of pretends he's dumb for a good portion of the film. So without giving anything away, that's part of it. And you might not realize that actually happened in real life with a Vietnam veteran. His name was Douglas Brent Hegdahl. Have you ever heard of this fella?
Mm-mm.
So Douglas Brent Hegdahl was a Vietnam War prisoner. He was captured, and the Vietnam soldiers actually dubbed him in Vietnamese a name that translated to the stupid one. They thought that this dude was just completely dumb and incapable of anything because he would always just kind of like bumble around and pretend like he didn't understand anything. And he would always be singing Old MacDonald. Like he would be singing Oh, like all the time, to the point where they actually decided like this guy he's kind of like a joke, like he's kind of like a goon. So we're not even gonna like lock him up the way we lock up other prisoners. We'll let him walk around and we'll give him assignments. Like his job was like sweep stuff up, right? And he got to like hang out in the courtyard while everyone else was locked in cages just because they're like, hey, look at this idiot. You know what I mean? But meanwhile, that kind of access let him have access to different parts of the camp. And he quietly went around and asked other prisoners what their names were. And what he was doing is using the tune of Old MacDonald to memorize these names. So he's walking around sweeping stuff up with the broom, singing the names of the people there to the tune of Old MacDonald. And then when he finally got out, when he finally was released, he was able to go back to the U.S. intelligence and give them 200 names of prisoners of wars that were captured by the Viet Cong. So this guy truly was smart enough to play the fool.
That is wild. That's
better than my story.
Absolutely wild.
No, they're both equally good stories, dude. And it's just crazy because he was 19 when the war broke out. Was like, I'm going. And then that happened, and he was just sweeping around, just memorizing names, dude. What a legend!
People do crazy
things. Did he got out, or was there like an exchange? Do you know?
I stopped reading the article like halfway through. It's a really long article, but
the end of the article is, he was actually killed, and this is just secondhand news that we learned from a journal.
Yes. So they were able to, there was a exchange, and they were able to, they were able to pick who to go to a certain degree. And because they kind of knew this would be the guy, they sent him. So that seems to be the case.
If it was your full-time job, how many names do you think you could memorize in 7 days? It's the only thing you have to focus on.
I'd get so bored.
Only thing to focus on.
You just got all these names.
I'll tell you what, not 200.
That's a lot of names.
Yeah, but pretty good job, man. Pretty good job. So the name again was Douglas Brent Hegdahl. So remember that name. Cool guy.
Is he still alive?
Again, didn't quite get to the bottom of the article, but
could have been an interview with him, so then you would know that off the top.
It could have been. He is still alive. He's 76 years old. Shout out Dougie B. TBH the third.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, what a beast. And he got a bunch of awards for that, for sure.
That's
an Academy Award.
I'm sorry.
Did he get an Academy Award?
No, he was in The Mummy, but got snubbed like everyone else in that fine film.
Well, damn. Well, 1 point, Joey, on that front for the Academy Award.
Your story had double the Academy Award winners in mine. triple if you count the one that Sean Astin's going to win.
But see, like that's the movie. Like I would like to see like a movie made of that story.
Yeah, but it sucks because it's like somebody buys the rights to the story and then they never do it. It's like it could be sitting
Matt Damon,
right?
We're talking to you.
Could be sitting in Harvey Weinstein's closet for all we know.
So that's a closet I would not like to go into.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty scary closet.
Who did Matt Damon buy the right? Oh, Ben Affleck. It's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck that own the rights to that baseball wife swapping movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like and they're depriving us.
Well, no, because one of the players got pissy whenever they tried to make the movie. The one whose wife got fully stolen.
I do not buy that story, by the way. I don't think either of them would ever wear a New York Yankees hat on film, and I think they would realize they'd have to do that. And they were like, "Let's buy the rights to this before someone else does and makes us do this movie."
They're gonna make a movie and just call it like the New York Spankies or something.
Yeah. So
also, Dustin said we need Pauly Shore to win an Oscar now.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger
I
things.
can't come up with anything that has happened that's that strange, but there's a first for everything.
Oh my God. I'm so stupid, dude. So I'm like looking at this, like I'm like looking at Hegdahl's like his Wikipedia, the Old McDonald guy, to see if there was like a movie about him. And I'm like reading this. I'm like, oh my God, he was actually in a bunch of movies, dude. And I'm like looking through, I'm like, wow, he was in Goonies? What? And then I realized that
the plot of a movie and not a real story.
No. I thought, I'm like, oh, he was in Goonies? Like, what's going on here? I realized that I wasn't on Hegdahl's Wikipedia. I was still on Sean Astin's. So,
Hegdahl was Rudy?
No,
What,
he was Rudy. He was in Lord of the Rings? What?
That was the end of the story. And then that man went on to be Rudy.
To be that man, Albert Einstein. Like, I'm just so dumb. How can I be so stupid? So no, I don't think there is a Brett Douglas Hegdahl movie. I thought there was. I was like, dude, this guy's a man. He's in all sorts of stuff.
When the hell did he have time to be in the Goonies?
What was he in Stranger Things?
That's awesome. We had a question from Adam in here. Adam wanted to know, how would you rank these wide receivers in Dynasty full PPR? Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. So for me, it's going to go Waddle, Wilson, St. Brown, but Waddle and Wilson are in a tier right there together. Joey, what about you?
I mean, Waddle's definitely first for me. It's Wilson and St. Brown that I'm struggling with. I'm going to take a cop-out answer. Nah, I'll go Waddle, Wilson, St. Brown.
Waddle, Wilson, St. Brown. Coop, you agreeing, or you go in a different order for these three?
I fully agree. I just wrote an article that I think I linked him in the chat earlier. Not sure if you saw it, but if you just type in Jalen Waddle and hit Google News, I think it's the first thing that comes up. Thank you, SEO gods, or one of the first couple. But it compares Jalen Waddle directly to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And after doing the research on that, I couldn't possibly take St. Brown over Waddle. And Garrett Wilson is another guy that he plays full-time flanker on the outside, running high A-dot routes. And he's kind of the locked-in number one on his team, whereas I think the Lions are still building, this offense. We don't know if it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamison Williams. We don't know if they're going to bring in a flanker or a tight end that could impact that. All we've seen is Amon-Ra St. Brown basically on a rebuilding team that, last year they traded away their tight end and they drafted a guy who was set to miss virtually the whole season. So I worry long-term for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think this year he's going to be once again a great asset and a RB2 with a wide receiver 2 with a wide receiver 1 upside once again. But I just worry long-term about what his trajectory is going to end up being.
Yeah. Coop, not the biggest Amon-Ra St. Brown fan, but fair. You're always fair. You're not a hater.
Right. I think he's a very good player. Like, I think Tyler Boyd's a very good player. And if you look at Tyler Boyd's trajectory, Tyler Boyd on the Bengals got 148 targets at one point in 2019, which is what Amon-Ra St. Brown just got, 146. But what happened is when they finished the rebuild, they brought in Jamar Chase and they brought in T. Higgins. They already brought in their Jamison Williams. What happens if they do find their T. Higgins? And now the question on 2 wide receiver sets is, who's coming off the field, Jamison Williams or ARSB? These are real questions that come up all the time in fantasy football. That's why Tyler Boyd, when he hit the age apex for wide receivers, was getting 800 yards instead of 1,000 or 1,100 or whatever he was getting before.
Yep. We're pretty much in agreement on that one. Well, guys, I have a quick one for you. I just want to tell you the story about another amazing man named Tsutomu Yamaguchi. Do you guys know about Tsutomu Yamaguchi?
Nope.
I love his name.
This man, Tsutomu Yamaguchi is his name. I think I'm saying that right. I Googled it before to make sure that I was pronouncing it to the best of my ability. But this man could probably be considered the most unlucky and the luckiest man in the world at the same time. Because what this man did was, in Japan in 1945, he was visiting Hiroshima on business. And the first atomic bomb was dropped. He survived. He survived that atomic bomb blast and said, I'm going back home. I'm getting the hell out of here. And so he went back home, Nagasaki, where the second atomic bomb was then dropped, and he survived again. He was only a few kilometers from the ground zero in both of these cases. So he wasn't just in the cities. He was within a few kilometers of where the bomb hit in both Hiroshima and Nagasaki when the atomic bombs were dropped. And he survived both times. Was in Hiroshima on business, then drove to Nagasaki to go home just in time for the next bomb to hit. And not only did he survive, but he lived until 93 years old after that. He stayed alive. So what, like the radiation didn't ruin things for him. He was in each city when the bombs hit, within a few kilometers of the blast, and then lived until the age of 93 after that.
What a beast.
Tsutomu Yamaguchi, certified badass.
Oh my goodness, dude. A 90, you said 93?
93. So he lived a long life, even if you didn't live through something like
That's
that.
what I
And
mean.
then
Like,
just insane. Just absolutely insane. One, to have witnessed both of those things, I can't imagine the like trauma that man went through, but then to survive and like move forward. He has a unique like experience that doesn't exist, a perspective. It's important that he's able to tell his story and talk about it because there's very few people that watched what happened and saw that tragedy live. And we've got this man who experienced it. Like, that's an important voice. Pretty cool. I just thought badass that this guy, he made it and he kept on going.
big time badass, dude.
Just now unlucky to drive home and end up where the next one's dropped.
You can't even talk to that. Like the survivors of any of those nuclear bombs, like you can't even talk to that guy because he's like, yeah, well, I survived too.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
cool.
let me tell you a story. Like,
Yeah,
oh
cool
God, here we go again.
Stub my toe. Yeah, you can never complain to that guy.
He becomes the ultimate one-upper. Satomu Yamaguchi is just the most annoying friend ever now.
Yeah. You think that's bad?
Yeah, let me tell you about the year 1945. Absolutely.
Here he goes again.
Guys, that is going to be it for Moreau today. We talked to you a little bit about Kihei Kwan winning his first Academy Award after coming back from 30 years away from movies. We talked to you about Mr. Hegdahl, who memorized over 200 names to the tune of Old MacDonald while being kept as a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War, and a little bit about Tsutomu Yamaguchi, the man who survived 2 atomic bombs, 1 in Hiroshima, 1 in Nagasaki. Let's take those little bits of knowledge, shove them in your back pocket, and we're going to be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern for some more Front Yard Fantasy morning show. Until then, though, guys, we're going to be out of here, but stick around on BSN. Coming up next, we've got Moose and Keith. And another reminder, tonight at 7:30 Eastern time, it is NBA Bettercast live Q&A to win a $100 gift card. Go try to steal it from Hal, but he's a tough person to beat. Until tomorrow morning, everybody, that's going to be it for the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show today. Thank you, Joey, for guest hosting with us. Thank you, Coop, for putting shades on. And thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out with us bright and early. See you tomorrow, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.